Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to episode number one of the 50-50. I am joined with my co-host, MoneyGo 123, and the Bop Pops. I am Jagentek, and we are here on this beautiful Thursday today with you guys to spit some Rocket League knowledge. Bop, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Money,
I'm feeling pretty
talk to
good.
him.
I'm feeling great. Pretty good. Maybe even great. Maybe phenomenal. And yeah,
That's what I
ready
like
to
to
talk about the
hear.
Rocket League.
Beautiful. Well, guys, we had a major over this past weekend. Bop was actually at it. Boston. Bop, how was Boston? How'd you enjoy it? What were you doing
I
over
guess.
there?
Ooh, bro, that was easily the best LAN I've been to. Like I've been to RLCS Season 7 Worlds. I've been to Dallas last year. But this LAN, bro, it was crazy. It was crazy. I never knew that like a LAN without NA in the top four could be that exciting. Like it was incredible.
That is awesome. That's what I like to hear. Very, very good indeed. Money, you said you've never been to a LAN, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I haven't been to one yet.
Yeah,
I'm
you and
looking
I.
to go in. I want to go to the next one that's in North America. So I'm not gonna go to Worlds because it's in what is it? Dusseldorf? Is that how you say it?
Yes,
Dusseldorf?
I think so. Dusseldorf?
Dusseldorf?
Something like that. Something like
Dusseldorf?
that.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully, if there's a major in the fall, then and it's in North America, then I will be there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also, guys, I'm sorry about that echo. If anybody said the echo, that's on me. I forgot to mute my camera. I have like three audio devices. It's impossible. If there is a small split, true Rockets. Anyways, I think we should
Ooh.
jump right into this major. Don't we think? I think we should, boys.
Let's get it.
Bob, talk to me about Vitality. Talk to me about him. You saw him play. Tell me
Um,
about him.
Vitality, best team from NA, maybe NA team, I don't know. But Vitality, bro, oh my God. Like I gotta say, early on, they didn't look as amazing. I gotta say, if we talk about like the first couple of days, it
Yeah.
looked a little bit shaky. Played against Elevate, lost that game there. Played against Complexity, almost lost that series. They lost to BDS, of course. But then after that, bro, Vitality were cooking in lowers 4-0 over like who was it? Was it like Rule 1 they 4-0? I think
Mm-hmm.
they 4-0 someone
Yep.
else. They beat KC, winning in the finals bracket reset. Bro, honestly, all three players look so good. Zen, easy MVP in my opinion. Alpha looks so good. Radozen looks so good. All three players, bro, they were cooking.
I would agree. I would agree indeed. It was quite a resurgence, honestly. Originally, I thought that they kind of snuck away with a few wins in this tournament. I thought. The complexity win, everybody knows how big of a complexity fan I am. I thought they snuck away with that one. AJG, please learn how to shoot. I beg you for worlds. But I mean, some people might say they snuck away with a victory against Carmine Corp as well. They did have a 2-0 lead in Game 7. And honestly, it wasn't looking pretty. And then Exotic, he decided to throw the game. But money. What did you think? Do you think they got away with it? Was this just average luck? What were your thoughts on this?
Dude, I don't know. I feel like Vitality, they really bounced back in that game 7. Like they were down by 2 with like I think it was like a minute and a half left. And then I don't remember the goal that they scored first, but after they got it down to 1 goal lead, like I thought they were gonna bring it back from that. Like I didn't think KC would be able to hold on with over a minute left, and like the pressure that Vitality just kept bringing, and then like once they tied it, dude, it was scary for KC. And then the unfortunate immediate kickoff goal, I was hoping for like a crazy overtime, but it was like a 10-second overtime. Alpha 54 off the ceiling just beats Exotic to the ball, and then ends that in like 9 seconds, 8 seconds.
Yes, definitely not. If you're a KC fan, definitely not what you want to see, to say the least. Not beautiful, especially with that last, just getting completely beat to the ball. Exotic, not what you want to see, at all. But overall, I have a question. I have a question for you boys that I've been thinking about a lot. That I really haven't seen anybody say a solid answer to. Do you guys believe that you can be the better team in a series and still lose the series? I'm curious what you guys have to say because I've thought about this for ages and I think it applies here.
Bob, you want to go first?
And
You got
okay,
an
yeah, I
answer?
think it's a good question. I think like there are rare instances where that could happen. Like you could argue that Complexity did play better than Vitality overall in that series that Vitality won. And I mean like AJG of course like probably should have scored that goal. They probably should have won that series. I think most of the time whoever wins is the better team. But I think there are instances where, like, let's say like the winning team, they only win like 1-0 games, but then the other team wins like 7-0 games, something like that. So like there are instances where it could happen. Yeah.
I'd agree. Money, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's weird because like in most sports and even esports, it's not like a best of anything. It's usually like just one game. Whoever's playing the best is gonna win that one game. But with Rocket League, as Bob said, like there's multiple games. Some games when you're winning it could be blowouts, but when you're losing it's like super close. But overall, oh, gee, I don't know. I just feel like the best team I feel like the best team wins. Like even with the
Really?
Vitality Complexity series, like Complexity, they definitely had the opportunity to win there. But like, if they didn't win, were they really the best team? Were they really the better team?
I'm here to tell you, Money. Yes! Yes, they were the best team. Complexity, they were the best team in that tournament on that day. And if they, AJG, you gotta hit an open net. That might be the thing that haunts my nightmares for the rest of my life. But they were the better team on that day. I don't care what anybody says. There's no way they were not the best team. AJG, maybe not the best player in that series. Actually, some might say he was overall. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But Raze Bull and CRR, in my opinion, if you watch the tape, I think they played far better than anybody on Vitality. AJG, you gotta fault them for the issue, but I still think Complexity were the better team in that series. Sometimes, it's Rocket League. Bounces, they don't go your way. Sometimes you have a little mechanical mistake. But overall, if you look at the full 5-game series, they definitely were the better team.
Listen, I might have to rewatch some of it, but I don't know. I don't see how you can really be the better team when you're not scoring, though. Like, their defense was definitely there. They were stopping most of Vitality's possession, but in the last 2 games, how can you be the better team if you only score 1 goal?
I mean, you could say the same thing about Vitality, though, couldn't you? You see Vitality, I mean, they scored, 1 goal and a lucky, a lucky counterattack there, I guess, what it could have flipped. I mean, you're shooting at the goal. I mean, it was pretty even, I would say. But overall, I'm taking Vitality, not being the better team in that series. But I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. That's valid enough. Bob, can you think of any times that you would explicitly say that a team was better and actually lost? Because this one, Money, he didn't believe so.
There's one thing that comes in my mind. I forget which LAN. I think it was either Winter Major or Spring Major last season, where it was Furia versus KC, and KC ended up winning the series. But cause Furia, the first 2 games or so, kind of threw those games, and they didn't look that good. But in the last few games of the series, they were absolutely cooking. They played so much better than KC. But I think they lost an overtime in the last game, something like that, and that caused them to lose the series. But I think there are just rare, very rare instances where a team that did pretty much perform better will lose the series.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that. I mean, at the end of the day, Rocket League, it's not a science, A certain thing can go wrong.
That's true.
You can be the better player, the better team, and just the bounces, they might not go your way. You might misread some crazy thing that is a 1 in a million bounce. So yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Now, I'd like to switch over a little bit of a topic, not fully yet. We're talking about Complexity, Vitality. Well, kind of touching on that. But moving along to that, what do you guys think? Who was the best player on Complexity? And do you think that they more than likely should have went further than they actually did?
This was a tough one because I rewatched some of the matches. I had CRR as the worst performing player.
Yeah.
But after rewatching some games, he had a lot of impact too. I don't think anyone on Complexity was underperforming it to the sense to be the weakest member of the team.
I would agree.
But AJG's impact, it was always there. Even when he wasn't scoring, he was getting physical, he was getting the bumps, he was getting the demos, he was cutting off passes. His impact was it was underrated in my opinion. I didn't see it the first time. I didn't see the amount of impact that he had on the game, but looking back, dude, he did so much for that team.
Yeah. Definitely. And so you think AJG was the best player on that team?
I think I'm gonna stick with Raze Bull. Dude, I can't let the shot go,
you
man.
Gotta get the goal. No, I mean that's valid. I think
I can't let it go.
that is valid.
Mm-hmm.
Bob, what do you think?
I think it's a tough question. Complexity is one of those teams where I don't think there's always a clear best player. I think if one of them is like having an off day, other two will step up. I think this major, I think each series there was like a different best player. I think Razebull played better sometimes, CRR, AJG. I think like a lot of people will be looking at AJG, just look at that miss that he had and be like, oh, this is a trash player, like he's not
He was
good.
so, bro.
But I think
That
we
day he
can't
was
say
so
that.
good too.
Yeah, that day he was popping off like a defense as well. AJG's always been one of the best defenders like in SAM history and then like currently in NA. I think like best player, I would still probably give it to Razebull, but I have talked to some other people and they think Razebull's a little bit overrated. So it's tough. I think like I would probably still go Razebull, but it's like it's very close.
Razebull overrated. I'm gonna have to have some. I'm gonna have to have some talks with those people because they clearly haven't been watching. But it's okay. It's okay. Overall, yeah, I'd probably reiterate what you guys said. But honestly, I think Razebull probably was the most consistent of the three. I would say AJG he actually might have had the highest peaks of anyone on that team when he was playing well. But I thought when I was watching, I thought Razebull definitely was the most consistent player on that team throughout. Maybe the very last series was probably Razebull's kind of big underperformance, if I'm being honest. But other than that, I thought he had great series other than that last one. Which the last one, honestly, CR, he tried to step up, but I don't think they were taking down Rule 1 on that day. That was Rule 1's to win.
Yeah.
Money.
Dude, that was a
Money,
good
money,
matchup.
money. What do you think? What are you thinking about that? Was that theirs to win? Should have they won that?
Against Real One?
Yeah.
Dude, that's definitely gonna be a series I need to rewatch. But the games were so close. I think like every single game was a 1 goal game, like
was
2-1
close.
in most of the games. Like it was a super close series. But Real One's defense, like they blocked everything, dude. They were holding it together the whole time. Veras, defensive MVP. I guess that's their playstyle. I don't know. Is that how they usually play? Like super defensive and just hold it down?
It's in Mena. If you watch Mena a lot, I have actually watched quite a lot of Mena. But it's not fully how they sometimes play, at least to that level of defense. But definitely on LAN it seems to be their play style, especially when they're playing teams better than them. Also, you were right. Every single game was a 2-1 game. So
Oh gosh.
yeah, it could have went either way. That is for sure.
Yeah. I do feel like Rule 1 were the better team that series. But I feel like
Mhm.
if Complexity played someone else, like for example, like Liquid and Genji were on the other side of the bracket, if they played one of those teams, I think Complexity could have won that and made like a
Yeah.
top 6, maybe a top 4 run this major. Obviously, they made top 4 last major, so I think like top 4 is definitely within their reach.
Mhm.
I think Worlds they could do good. We'll see how they do there. But like, yeah, I think this is a good team, and I'm still hopeful for their future.
Yeah. In fact, we won't talk about it much today. Maybe we'll talk about it another day. But I would say Complexity probably have one of the higher chances in NA to actually stick together this offseason as well.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm excited to see their ascension hopefully continue. I mean, I feel like they've only gotten better. This was, not the best result, but I mean, they're taking Vitality pretty well. They're playing basically every top team well. So they definitely have a chance. With that said, let's talk about EU. EU dominates the major. Was it actually a domination, Money? Do you want to tell me about EU? As an NA fan, I don't know if I want to hear this, but let's hear it. Tell me.
Yeah, it was pretty clear domination from EU. I don't remember the numbers. I think NA won one series on day one out of eight, out of 8 or 9.
It was Complexity. Yeah.
And I think
Yeah, then-
Optic won a series too, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm
And
talking about
then-
against EU Complexity.
Oh yeah, that's true, that's true.
Yeah, EU won like almost all of their games on day one. The only one was Complexity beating Liquid. Bruh, like the the upper bracket semis. I'm looking at the bracket now, bro. It's Vitality, BDS, Carmine Corp, Moist. Where is the NA representation? I'll tell you where. They're all in the lower bracket, dude.
Oh, I don't like to
Everyone's
see
in the
that.
lower bracket. Furia falling apart against Ninjas in Pajamas. Optic lost to Liquid, which is understandable, but they almost brought that back in the reverse sweep. And then Genji team killing Space Station. Eventually to lose to Vitality, yeah, it was tough for NA. We couldn't get anyone past the top 6. That's tough.
It was. Now, Money, I'm curious. Do you think, was it a full domination or on paper was it not a domination? Because on paper, in my opinion, when you actually look at the series and the games and you watch them, I don't feel like they looked as lopsided as the series scores might actually show, though. Like Space Station, I thought they put up a pretty good fight against Carmine. Vitality, I mean, obviously they were tested to their limits by complexity. Optic, they could have beat Moist. And I mean, Optic could have beat Liquid as well. So I'm curious. What do you think about that? Was it actually domination on the field, or was it just domination when you look at the scores or series scores? Bob, feel free to chime in on that one as well.
Yeah, Bob, if you got something for that, go ahead.
I mean, I'll say I think EU did dominate like heavily. Like I think NA is a clear step below EU right now. I think there's a lot of like things that we have to look at. Like why is NA like this bad in comparison to EU? I mean, you think about how EU really like they get their talent, right? They look at the bubble players, they pick them up. You think about Radosin. I mean, he was just a bubble player last season, and now he's literally one of the best in the game. You think about like other players that they pick up, like Oli got picked up by major teams this season. You look at other players as well. Even Exotic last season, he was like a bubble player. Now he's at the top. Like EU know how to like get their talent and turn them into like top tier players. Whereas NA, we do it sometimes. You look at Chronic, which was
Rare.
done by 2 EU players. You look at Magic Bear, it helped him a little bit, but like it just barely happens in NA, and I think we just need to like do that more, and then NA will be closer to EU. But right now, especially at this major, EU dominated for sure.
That's fair. Money, do you agree? You agree with that one?
Yeah, I mean, like NA definitely had chances to win some of these matches against EU, but at the end of the day, you gotta get the dub, and the EU teams just looked more consistent throughout the entire tournament. Like I'm looking at this Vitality versus Gen.G matchup. Gen.G is one of our best like teams in the sense of like how they perform like as a team. Like they work together, they're not selfish how they play, and they still got absolutely crushed by Vitality here.
That was a point.
So,
That might have been the worst series of this entire event, by the way. That was just,
Yeah.
it was disgusting to
Yeah.
watch. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know.
I
I don't know
would.
what NA has to do, but they got to do something.
It's a tricky one. I will agree. I do agree. NA, they definitely got to do something. But I don't know if I agree with you guys saying it was a stomping Foley. Every series with NA, they might have not won. They might have not won. I will say EU, they are above. But I don't think it's as far as people want to make out. And coming in here, I mean, everyone was talking like EU would just stomp the NA teams. 4-0 sweep, 4-0 sweep. That didn't happen. But we did see a clear level to EU. They iced up when they had to. Their shooting did seem to be better when they needed it. And honestly, I think that's probably the biggest thing watching was just the minuscule details they couldn't ice up. And hopefully, at Worlds at least, we'll see a little bit more from NA in that retrospect. But today, we didn't see it at the major. So, you know, NA, they have a bit of work to do, but hopefully we see it, like I said, at Worlds. If we don't see it at Worlds, I'm crawling into a closet and calling Garrett G up, Captain America. Please make a super team. But speaking of more EU, actually, we actually saw Carmine Corp fumble the bag, and it seems they kind of have a bit of a, well, maybe slow rivalry, a friendly rivalry going on with Vitality. It seems they just can't quite ice up against them, speaking of ice. What do we think about Carbine Corp? Is Carbine Corp still poised at the top of EU, or are they just like, is there kryptonite Vitality? What are our thoughts?
At this point, I think we gotta give some respect to Vitality and BDS, to put them above Carmine Corp. I don't know, because like the series was super close, 4-3. BDS took them down, and then Vitality beat them in the lower bracket to knock them out of the tournament 4-3 again. But I don't know. I can't say that at the top. I think that there's still like a big gap between like the top 4 teams of EU and like the rest of the EU teams. But
Yeah, I would agree.
but yeah, I couldn't put K Corp above those other 2 teams right now. What about you guys?
Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's like a clear, like I would even say there's a clear top 3 right now. I feel like number 1 Vitality, number 2 BDS, then KC is like a good third. I think Liquid is like a tiny bit under them then. I would go 4th, and like Moist is like 5th right there. But I think KC are still like that kind of team that like they could win Worlds, and I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Vatira is that guy. Exotic, Itachi, if they're playing well, I mean, they easily could be the best team in the world. But I think Vitality and BDS are just like a step above. And like, I mean, you look at how they played, and like they played well, honestly, throughout the whole LAN. It's just like they couldn't ice up. They lost two game sevens to the two best teams in the world, to be fair. But like they need to like figure out how to ice up again, and at Worlds they easily could bounce back.
Yeah. It definitely, bro. Speaking of ice, it seems like ice, as we keep going, getting further and further into this game's progression, it seems ice becomes more and more important because as every single series gets closer and closer, the defense gets better and better. You gotta hit your open shots. If you're not hitting your open shots, I mean, we saw it. You'll lose the series off a counterattack. It's the minuscule details where back in the day, I don't feel like it was quite as as big of a deal because you miss and the speed of pace probably isn't quite as fast as it is now, obviously. But yeah, I would definitely agree. Carmine, they got to figure it out. They got to figure it out by Worlds. I have faith in them though. Also, Bob, you mentioned you were confident K Corp in their day could be the best in the world. Who do you think? What teams in the world do you actually think have a realistic chance at being the best in the world on their day? How many teams are there?
I think I think realistically, I think there's like four in EU, I would say. I would say I wouldn't put Moist in that conversation yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say BDS, Vitality, K Corp, and Liquid, their peaks are like winning worlds, for example.
Yeah.
I think from NA, if you look at NA, I think even though FaZe weren't at this major, I feel like
Gotta
FaZe's
throw
peak
'em in.
is still winning worlds. I think they still could be the best. I would say Gen G as well. I think like they're usually pretty consistent performer. They're pretty good. And then like it might just be them. I feel like we'll have to see more from like Rule 1 Falcons, see what they could do at Worlds. I wouldn't put them like best in the world yet, like potential, but
I
like they
think
are very close to there.
I think what we saw from Rule 1 is definitely I don't know. I think they can hang with the top teams, but I don't know if they can win with the top teams
Yeah,
consistently enough to do that. I mean, Vitality had them on the reels, going through defensive for ages, and they still couldn't win. They still couldn't win for 12-minute overtime. Also, I think you missed somebody, Bob. I think you missed somebody. Somebody in the chat, they said
Ooh.
complexity over Gen G, which I agree with. Chatter, you're right. You're spitting. Bob, what do you think about complexity? You don't think they have a chance to win Worlds?
Uh, realistically, I don't see them beating like the likes of Vitality, the likes of BDS. Of course, they almost did it this major, but I feel like Vitality wasn't looking good when they played them.
Dude, Jagentek's ran away.
Oh
Bob,
no, he's
you got
gone.
him out. You got him out of his
Oh
chair.
no, he's
You got him out of his
gone.
chair. Bob, keep going.
Keep
Let him
going.
know.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like if Vitality's playing normally, if BDS playing normally, I feel like Complexity can't really ever beat them. But I feel like teams like Gen G, for example, we saw them win a LAN this season. I feel like FaZe, they made the finals this season. I feel like those kind of teams, like they could challenge Vitality, BDS, KC at Worlds. Complexity, like I still got them like going far, but like I can't see them winning Worlds personally.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me. I don't even have anything else to say about that. Money, what do you think? Do Complexity have a chance to win Worlds?
Dude, I'm somewhere in the middle because like if Complexity won, I'd be like, wait, that's actually surprising. But also, I do think Complexity currently has a better chance than Gen G. I'm a Gen G supporter.
Yeah.
I love that team, but I don't know. They just something's missing right now. They just seem kind of flat
I
in the sense
agree.
like the opponents just know what they're gonna do. Like I feel like Gen G as a team, they play so well together, but they're just like their offense has been just getting overwhelmed by other teams' defenses.
Money.
Like they still go for like those fancy pre-jump plays, but now it's just the other team's like, nope, I've seen that before, blocked. I don't know.
So, Money, I have a question. Do
Yeah,
you
what do you
think Gen G has been figured out?
I don't want to have to say yes. I don't want to admit that. But in the current state, in the current form, the definition of being figured out is basically like knowing what your opponent's gonna do, and the other teams do. They just know what's happening. The other teams just know they know what's coming. So, but I hope that they bounce back for Worlds. I do want to see the bounce back.
I would agree. I'd like to see that. I think honestly, one of their biggest issues is it seems like their mechs almost. Their mechs are like I feel like I'm watching like two turbo pulses on the field compared to like when you watch like
gosh.
Vitality. Like it's not even like the mechs don't even look like they're near the best teams in the world. But somehow they got their team play, which is impressive for how good they're doing. Honestly, when I watch them on the field compared to these other teams. But I don't know. They're questionable. Gen G are very questionable. On their day, with everything going their way, I could see a victory, but I don't see it over complexity. And that's not even, honestly, that one's not even biased. That's not even biased right there. That is, I don't see it. I don't see it right now with how they've been playing.
No, I agree. I do
Oh, that's fair.
agree right now.
Alrighty, let me see here as well. We got our BDS topic out of the way, kind of. I guess we'll touch on them a little bit more, I guess. Bop, you know, he said that BDS have a chance to win Worlds. Maybe a little bit of recency bias, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
But I would think so. I don't think BDS has played that well. Other than, I mean, they got to the finals. And then yeah, I mean, they've gotten to 2 finals, but I mean, BDS, I don't know. They looked out of spot in that finals. If we're being honest, to be honest, in my opinion, I did not think they looked like they belonged.
Yeah, the finals they definitely struggled in, but who knows? Maybe there's some other reasons behind the scenes, possibly. Who knows? I don't know, but I think they definitely deserve. I think they were definitely the second best team at the LAN, though. I do think they were the second best team.
See, it's so tricky because Rocket League, I feel like it's like when you go to a major, especially, it's just like whoever's better on the day wins. Like it seems like that's like the trickiest part. I feel like that's not always the case online. I feel like people are more consistent throughout online play, but on the day, like, I mean, if we're being honest, no disrespect to Elevate, but Vitality shouldn't even be losing a game to Elevate. I mean, shout out Realize, top 25 at that major easily, in my opinion.
No.
But yeah, no, they shouldn't be losing. So it just depends on the day. BDS, I thought they had 2 very good days. And then when they played Carmine, I didn't think they looked that good against Carmine either, if we're being perfectly honest. I thought that was kind of a questionable series all around from both teams. And then the finals, they got out leveled. It felt like they were lost. I felt like I was watching BDS versus G2 in the Worlds final last year.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it's actually that reminded me of that as well from the Worlds.
But, I mean, we'll see what they can do at Worlds. That's really what it comes down to for a lot of these teams, I feel like. I mean, I could see, if BDS don't perform well at Worlds, I could see a roster change already, which is kind of crazy with that roster, but definitely could happen.
Yeah, low-key, I agree, because like Rise, he said his contract ends in August. So yeah, if they don't perform well, who knows? Rise might be coming to NA. He might show up.
We're gonna see the prophecy. It's coming. Beast mode. Daniel, Rise on NRG, not version 1.
Yo, imagine on NRG. Hold on.
Crazy. I'd love to see that. That'd be beautiful. I would like to see that, but I don't know. We'll just see how they do at Worlds. We'll see if how you guys rate them. We'll see if they can live up to it. I don't rate them quite as high as you guys, but we'll see. Also, speaking of another EU team, speaking of rating them, what happened to Liquid? The one EU team that doesn't. Where are they? What are they doing? Talk to me, Bob. Tell me about Liquid.
Man, see, Liquid are probably like my favorite EU team, so it was kind of sad to see them not perform as well this major. But like, I felt like they have to figure out how to bring like their online play to LAN. I mean, this whole split, they kind of underperformed a little bit. They lost to like Hogan Mode. They lost to some other teams.
It was questionable.
But yeah, I felt like online, like usually, like, especially the first 2 splits, they looked amazing. Like they were in contention for best team in EU throughout the first 2 splits, I think. And then this split kind of fell off a little bit. I feel like they still have that potential. Like all 3 players are individually some of the best players in the game, so mechanically good. Chronic joined Pulse not that long ago. You know, you got the Pulse mechs now. But like, they got to figure out how to bring the online play to LAN again. Because like last split, they made top 4 at the major. This split, they made top 8. It's not a bad result. But I know that they want to do better, and I know that they could do better. So we'll see.
Money.
Yeah, that's facts.
Reiterate it?
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that, dude. Once I saw Moist make a top 6, I was thinking, bro, we're about to have 5 of the top 6 teams be from Europe. Like, I did not think Liquid was getting stopped by a team that wasn't from EU. And honestly, like, if they didn't get absolutely stomped in the game 1 against Gen G, I think they would have had a chance to even get that top 6, because like they had a slow start. The Liquid started off very slow. They let in some kickoff goals, some goals that shouldn't have gone in, and then they couldn't fully recover from that.
Yeah, it seems to be Liquid seem to be it seems a lot of these teams, especially when you look at NA especially, but it seems a lot of these teams that fully rely on just mechs, I guess, or more so mechs than say a Gen G. It seems they're a lot more inconsistent, and I've always said this. I feel it's a weird thing to say, but Liquid out of EU, they strike me as almost an NA team with how they play, because they're fully like, if their mechs aren't going, if they don't have everything else rolling on the day, like Bop touched on it, they could lose to a Hogan mode, which realistically, again, they shouldn't probably be losing to. But Liquid's peak when they are rolling, now that's a scary team right there. So it should be intriguing, but that's what I'd attribute that down to, is Liquid just being inconsistent more so than the other EU teams, I guess, especially recently, now that they've been challenged at the top more so.
Yeah, facts. Even the series against Optic almost brought it back to reverse sweep them, winning games 3 and 4, and then game 5 super close.
I thought Optic looked horrible in that series as well at the beginning. Like, actually, like, absolutely atrocious. What did they lose? 1-4 in the first game, and then the next game was a 3-2. But then Optic, I mean, they came back in 4-0, 3-2. Like, it could have been any time, and we'll talk on it later. But I'm not gonna lie, I think Optic might have won that series if there was a crowd that day. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, Liquid underperforming. Give me a quick answer. Did they underperform? What do you think they're gonna do at Worlds?
I think if they avoid NA teams, they'll do good. They usually do like really bad against NA teams. They do good against EU teams.
4-1.
NA teams not that good. Yeah, so like if they avoid NA teams, I think they're good. If they play, wait, did I say that right? Yeah, if they avoid NA teams, they're good. If they play NA teams, I think it's over for them. Maybe not even a top 8. We'll see.
Damn.
I can see it. What do you think, Money?
Yeah, I'd say they underperformed at this event. I think at least like a top 6 for them. They should have definitely got. And for Worlds, honestly, I think they'll bounce back. I think a Chronic wants to prove to the world wrong, and I think they got it.
Did he respond to your tweet actually, or say something? I thought I saw something on Twitter. Did he respond to you or something and say he's bouncing back or something? I thought I saw that. Anyways,
yeah, he said something along the lines of, "It's okay. I will prove the world wrong. I will prove."
Nice.
Yeah, something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, some Vatira type of message.
Yeah, it does. Overall, though, I would agree. Yeah, Liquid definitely underperformed. In fact, I think going in, I had them in the finals in my prediction. I think I had Vitality Liquid final. So, yeah, that was definitely a huge underperformance in my eyes. But I do believe, I think they bounced back at Worlds. They just the issue is Worlds is kind of long. So, hopefully that consistency doesn't end up plaguing them. But it is what it is. Worlds... This is going to be the worst segment, or worst segue of all time. Worlds, it's not an NA, it's in EU. But Vitality, they became NA. Tell me about it. Money, talk to me about Farah's speech. And then the backlash on Twitter. Is Vitality NA? Is that coming to NRG?
Yeah, I mean, Vitality, they're an official NA team. They won the major as an NA team, waving the flags back and forth multiple times. Zen was hyped up. Dude, I thought he was gonna start speaking English. Like they're actually, I guess they're an NA team now. But honestly, like from Farah, dude, that was really well played. Like hyping up the crowd to get them to support their team. Like they were literally getting booed the day before that. Like, and then Farah really just brought it back, and he underrated coach, for real.
Oh yeah.
Bop, what are your thoughts on that one? You were there to witness it.
Yeah, this might be a hot take, but I feel like if Farah didn't have that speech, if they didn't play the way they did, like playing to the NA crowd, I don't know if they win this LAN. Like I think BDS would have taken it.
Because like they felt so comfortable after that. Like that's crazy.
I feel like.
Vidocin? No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Money.
I was gonna say Vidocin hopping in his chair. Like dude, they were hyped up. They were comfortable. The crowd screaming behind them. They was playing their game.
I thought it was honestly. I thought it was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like aside from like the memes and whatever, I thought it was kind of cool. Like realistically speaking, like seeing an EU team like kind of join, I guess like unite in like an NA arena was kind of cool in itself. But also I would agree. Actually, by the way, Bob, I would agree. I do not know if they win that LAN without Farah doing that, because I thought that they had like their momentum really, like I didn't feel like they had a ton of it going into that final, and then Farah did that and I felt like the crowd switched right away. And the momentum I felt like just was crazy because I think BDS going in, they probably were like, yeah, we got the crowd behind us, we're the favorite.
Oh yeah.
They seemed to be the favorite, obviously. And then just like that, it was that easy. And they also I feel like added to the have fun meta. My favorite meta in the game. It seemed like they were just there having fun. It didn't even feel like a final for them. Looking at their cams, like Zen, he was standing up, he was cheering the crowd, like waving the flag. Like they didn't care. They actually did not care. They were just there to have fun. It seemed like.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I asked so many people before the Vitality KC series, right? I asked so many people before that, like just walking around in the arena, like who are you gonna root for if they like make the finals, if either KC or Vitality make the finals, and everyone said no matter who makes the finals, we're rooting for BDS. Like people just like really liked BDS Rise on that team. Everyone was like, yeah, we're rooting for BDS all the way. And then after Farah did that speech, bro, the whole crowd changed so much. It was like night and day. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone was shouting USA, USA every time Zen scored, every time Alpha scored. It was so funny,
cool.
bro.
I love that.
It was amazing.
Bro, me and Money were on a watch party in that, and I was like, I remember telling Money at one point, I was like, the one team I don't want to win is Vitality. Like, I don't want to see them win. And then I saw that Farah speech, and I was like, yeah, baby, NA Vitality, let's go. He had me hyped up, bro. I was on the train. I was rooting for Zen. Then my favorite American, by the way, USA. But yeah, it was beautiful. And then after it all ended, Farrah's getting backlash on Twitter, and I need somebody to summarize this because somebody wrote this on here, and I don't know what happened exactly.
Dude, it doesn't make sense, bro. I didn't see the backlash personally. Like, I didn't see like any of the comments, but it seems like people are upset that he was like playing to like the NA crowd and like holding like the NA sign. They were waving like the USA flags, but it's like, bruh, your team still won. They did what they had to do to win the tournament, and now you're mad about how they did it, bruh. Like, would you rather have them lose? Would you rather your team lose?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of missed it. So what exactly happened? Was it French? What was it? French fans being mad that they were representing a different country? What was it?
Yeah, Bob, did you see it? Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, I think honestly Vitality fans were fine. I think they were chill. Like they didn't really care. It was mostly, at least in like my notifications, it was mostly KC fans that were really upset. That were really upset, saying that like, oh, they sold their souls to the US, to NA fans. And like, but there were so many like replies, so many quote retweets on my tweets and stuff saying that like, oh, like Vitality, like what is this? What are they doing, bro? Disrespecting France, like it was kind of funny. So.
That is funny. Yeah.
Nah, that's funny, bro. Dude, but you know those exact same Carmine Corp fans. If it was their team, if it was Everstacks on the mic, if it was Everstacks up there in the grand finals on the mic, bro, and they did that, then what? Then what would be happening on Twitter?
Carmine Corp.
Exactly.
You could just imagine. I don't even need to tell you. You could just imagine the scenes. Carmine Corp, their fans. Oh, they'd be going crazy for the US. They'd be like, USA, yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe their fans are just full French people. But French till they die. But it's okay either way. Anyways, though, I thought it was good. You know, I thought what Farah did. I thought it was fantastic. People can they can look at it however they want, but. At the end of the day, they got the W, and I think Farah greatly helped his team win that. So it was beautiful. Beautiful indeed. With that topic finished, though, unless you guys had any other takes on that one or wanted to say anything else.
Nope. Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, I'm good.
We'll move along to the next topic. Where would you rank Zen after this major? What do we think? Is he definitively numero uno in the world now?
And it's tough. It's tough to argue against it.
You want me to go first? I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll do it. Zen, he's not definitively number one, but he's tied. He's tied in my books. Him and Alpha on the first 2 days of that major, maybe even 3 days actually. Well, I guess they didn't play on one day. But yeah, first 2 days, I guess it would have been Thursday and Saturday. I say that it was not Zen. Zen, he definitely was not the best player in that major. In fact, he probably, honestly, the first 2 days, I don't even know if he was top 5, maybe even top 8. But then the Zen, he appeared. He appeared on Sunday, and that's the day when you gotta show up. And he did. He did indeed. And that final, it was a masterclass, an absolute masterclass. Alpha, I thought that he honestly, I thought Alpha was kind of going crazy, if we're being honest, the first 2 days. Redosin, he looked horrible. I honestly, I think he looked horrible. Basically the entire, time.
Horrible's kind of harsh, bro.
Bro, this guy was missing balls he should be missing. He was misreading.
He did kind of like own goal.
He owned goal. He squishy saved his own teammate. He squishy saved his own teammate. Oh my god, if that's your signature move, go get Sizen back. Oh my god. I can't, no, that was the worst performance I've ever seen. Zen and Alpha, my god, they carried his ass. That was insane. But other than that, yeah, Alpha, first 2 days, I thought he was fantastic. Probably best in the world. Last day, I thought Zen was cooking. What did he average? I think I saw it on First Touch. That, that smaller podcast. But, yeah, I saw it on First Touch out there. I think Bates said he averaged like 500 something points on Sunday. It was insane.
Yeah, crazy.
And like I said, he showed up when he needed to. Same with, to be fair, Elite Inferno, he said in chat as well. Redosin did show up with improvement Saturday to Sunday, but still, he didn't look that great overall, in my opinion. It was definitely Zen. That probably, to be fair, he probably got him the win on Sunday with how good he was playing in that final. So overall, the question was, where would you rank Zen after the major? He's tied. He's tied 1-1-1 with Farah, Alpha, and himself. And then Redosin's like 15th.
Oh gosh.
Maybe like not even on the list, but it's okay.
Ooh.
Not on the list. Not even top 25.
I'm kidding. No, he's not 25.
Gosh.
He's top 25. He's there. But no, 15, honestly, I don't rate him at all.
Dang.
All right, Bop, you want to go?
Yeah, I feel like, I will say this first, I feel like you gotta rate Redosin. I feel like the last series, especially, like Sunday, bro, he was playing so well. Especially against BDS. Though? Technically it was 2 series, because, like, it was like BDS 2-7. I felt like Redosin playing so well in that last series. Other ones, like, yeah, he was pretty shaky. I feel like day 1, day 2, Redosin definitely the worst on the team. Although I would say, I feel like Zen was the best player on the team, like, all 3 days that they played. I feel like first 2 days, Alpha was really good as well. But Zen, I feel like at times was the only one that looked comfortable. I don't know.
On day 1?
There is no way.
Yeah, I would say day 1 even. Like against like Elevate, I felt like he was the only one making plays.
Okay,
like,
I didn't see that. I didn't see that full series.
I don't know,
I didn't see
bro.
the Elevate series.
Especially, I didn't think, bro. Especially Complexity series, I thought he looked horrid. Honestly,
Complexity series, I think I'll give you that. Yeah, he didn't look as good in the Complexity series. I agree. I think the Elevate series he was the best. I think like Complexity series probably like second best. I feel like every other series, pretty much, I feel like he was the best player on the team.
I don't know.
Yeah, I might need to rewatch some series.
Maybe
I was seeing before, dude, Alpha was popping off, dude.
He was.
And my son was kind of struggling a little bit in a couple series. Like, yeah, I might need to rewatch some stuff.
Yeah, I might agree with that. So, the final question. Well, I'll give you a quick answer here. Where would you rank Zen after the major? Is he definitive 1? Is Alpha there as well? Would you rate him identical? I think you could rate him even identical if you wanted, depending on what you rate.
Yeah, for me, Zen definitive number 1. I'll put Alpha number 2 definitely, but like Zen definitive number 1 for me. Yeah.
I think that's a fair opinion. I'm gonna say not definitive. I think Alpha, he's really important for the team on his day, but yeah, I'd say right now I'd put Zen at 1, but I'd say it's close. I could say you could definitely make the argument for Alpha as well.
I'd say they're 1A and 1B. Right now, it just depends on the day. One day you see one playing well, the other way, I don't know. I would say Alpha might be a little bit more consistent though. So maybe
I agree
for that
with
reason
that.
I'd put him a little bit higher. But other than that, Vitality, they got the dub. So who really cares? They're both up there. They're both up there at the end of the day.
True.
Now, adding to more Vitality. I just love Vitality. My favorite NA team. How far ahead in the world? Overall, in EU, in the world, in MENA, all of the above. How far ahead are Vitality above everyone else right now? Is it actually close? Is it close? Do you think they clear? What do we think?
Money, you want to go?
Yeah, I'll start off, dude. This is a tough one. I'm not gonna say they're that far ahead, but I'm gonna say there's definitely a gap. There's definitely at least some gap there. The numbers speak for themselves. The sweep against Gen G, the sweep against Rule 1, even though the Rule 1 series it was a really close, really good series as well.
Yeah, that's
But like the 4-0 sweeps, they speak for themselves. When they play other regions, it's not really close, except Complexity as well. Complexity was a close series. But also in that Complexity series, we saw that Zen wasn't at his best. We saw
That is true.
Redosin wasn't at his best.
a good point.
So I don't know. I think Vitality's ahead. Like if Vitality's having an on day, I don't think anyone's beating them right now. That's just how it is. Like they are the factor. If Zen and Alpha are playing their best and Redosin's not own goal plus squishy saving
Yeah.
shots, then then I don't see anyone beating them right now.
Mm.
You agree, Bob?
I think like overall I do agree. I feel like I expected actually more from Vitality at this LAN. Like before coming into it, I thought like they could easily just like 4-0 through everyone. I thought like maybe they could have just a perfect like major. So I was actually surprised that like the first couple of days they didn't look as good. Obviously lost the game to Elevate, almost lost to Complexity, eventually lost to BDS up there. I thought they would do better. So like they're definitely the best team in the world, but I think teams like BDS, KC, even Rule 1 on their day, maybe get like a peaking phase, a peaking complexity. You know, these teams, I think they could challenge them. But I would still say they're number 1. Yeah.
That's fair. That is fair. I would probably, man, it's a tricky question to me honestly, because Vitality, when you look at them, it really is. I think it just fully depends. If they're all the coherent machine like we know they can be, I think they are levels above everybody else. But that's obviously been proven that they not always are that consistent machine. So I don't think they are levels ahead of everyone else. I think it's very close. But they are the team to beat at Worlds, or will be until they're defeated at any point. I think realistically, if they lose a tournament, that's when you can start talking about other teams. But I think it's dumb to even try and bring up anyone else in the conversation to challenge them. People can challenge them, but it's going to take a monumental effort, and it's going to have to be, I think, Vitality playing down, because I don't think at their peak, I don't know if there's a team in the world that can challenge them at their peak when they are playing that well with Zen and when Redosin, like Money said he's not squishy saving and own goaling. So yeah, I'd put him at number 1, but I don't think it's as far ahead as people say, because that's just how Rocket League works. One day you're great, one day you're not so great.
That's
but
fair.
you know, a team and a region and everything that's not that great right now is NA.
Ooh.
It's NA. I don't like NA. NA they suck, apparently, according to all my sources. Which is, trust me, bro. But anyways, yeah, NA. Is it as bad as it seems right now? Is NA in the gutters completely coming into Worlds? Are we done for? Is NA getting swept out of this Worlds? Is there no hope for NA top 2? Maybe winning? Do they have any chance?
Man,
That silence speaks for itself. Honestly, they're.
I mean, what I'll say is that I think there's 10 NA-born players at Worlds, and there's like 27 EU-born players at Worlds.
Oh gosh.
So like just that stat alone, you look at it, it's just like that's crazy, right? That's crazy. Obviously, you got Complexity as well, you got Genji as well, repping NA, but like I don't see NA making top 2 this LAN. Like I think it depends of like how good FaZe is playing, how good Complexity, Genji, maybe a G2 shows up. But like realistically, I think NA teams need to restructure themselves a ton. Like I have a feeling that like it's potentially every single NA team could make a move this off season. And like I think like they'll try to rebuild themselves, try to get a little bit better. But like right now, at least for this Worlds, I fully expect like Vitality, BDS, KC, Liquid, these teams to be like the top teams.
Really? So really, I'm actually curious about this. So you think that BDS is just like far clear like FaZe right now? Because I don't think they are.
I mean, FaZe weren't even at this LAN. I mean, they couldn't even qualify.
I guess, but they did make a final. That's like, I mean, that seems like such recency bias, is it not? Like FaZe, I mean, you can't just I don't know. I think you're underrating FaZe now.
Like FaZe, in my opinion, still has like the highest peak in NA, like for Worlds. Like I feel like if NA is gonna win a LAN, like it's probably gonna be FaZe. But I feel like BDS are clear right now. Like I feel like
Really?
Vitality, BDS, even KC, maybe even Liquid. Like, I feel like they're just clear of like all NA teams. Yeah.
It's valid, I guess. I don't agree, but that's valid. Money, what do you think? Is NA, are we completely finished? Is it all doomsday?
Dude, before I hop into that, dude, even with like FaZe BDS, if they're both in the finals, dude, I would still lean towards BDS, especially because like they've
Really?
won majors before, they've won
But
like
that
the world
team
championship
hasn't. See,
before
that
two
team
of the
hasn't, though.
players.
That's the thing. Like, I feel
Yeah,
like
but
it's
like
hard to rate
they
when
have
there's a different team. If it's a different
that's
team,
true.
how do you rate it? If they haven't
But the
actually
thing
won
is,
it.
it's the level of composure. It's like it's the fact that they've been all three of the players have been in that situation before.
The
Like we
composure
saw like
that
the
they
one
just lost to
unfortunate.
Vitality and got cooked?
Well, I mean, Vitality
That
was
composure?
overpowered, bro. They were overpowered. Plus, they had the entire crowd. They had an entire nation behind them. But
Okay. The NA Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby. NA team.
But
Oh
plus,
boy.
Worlds is gonna be in EU, so like they're not
that
gonna
is
root
a
for
good
NA
point.
teams.
That is a very good point.
So there's that. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think like Justin said it well like when he said like he's not even doing tryouts yet with teams because like he expects like NA to completely just explode over the what's it called, the off season. So like I don't know. It sounds
Yeah.
like no one even has hope. And dude, it's time for NA.
Oh boy. What is he doing?
It is time for NA.
Just quit.
Oh.
Dude,
I
it's
don't know.
over.
Oh,
It's not
over,
over.
God.
It cannot be
It's over.
over. No,
Hey, thanks for inviting me to the
no.
podcast.
Oh,
It's
no.
time to just quit.
No.
Oh,
What are we
No.
even doing here at this point, bro? It's already over. What are we
my
doing?
goodness.
no.
Just wait.
No.
He's not ready, Buff. Let me tell
Alright,
you
he's
about.
gone.
Let me tell you, Money. He ain't ready. He ain't ready for this NA domination next season. Not at Worlds. But
Okay.
they're gonna. Yeah, not at Worlds. That's not happening. Let's be real. That's definitely not happening.
Yeah.
Also, I need to call out the chatter. Where is he? Elite Inferno. You said the BDS roster made it to finals. The FaZe roster hasn't. What are you watching? Yes, they have. I had to call.
I mean, we saw FaZe in the final. We saw the mistake that they made.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
they don't have the composure. They weren't there before.
The
Dude.
ice. The ice.
It was
It's
going
not
so
there.
well.
It
Other
is sad,
the
though.
mistake.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna, you guys say it's that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Especially considering Complexity and Genji. They are an NA. It might not be NA players, but they count as NA. And as long as they count as NA, NA has a chance. I don't know if they have the favorite going in. Maybe not even the top two favorites. But I would say FaZe. I like, Bop rates BDS, but I'd say that it's Carmine, FaZe, and still Vitality as your top three going into this LAN. If we're rating them throughout the entire season, from what I've seen this entire season, that's how I would go. And realistically, I mean, you never know. BDS, they could show up, but I don't have a ton of faith. Maybe they will. There's no telling. But NA, I don't think they're as bad as it seems. I think NA will. I think they have their better teams this time. I think G2, replacing Optic, obviously. I think G2 is a better team, especially on LAN, than an Optic team. And I think G2, we might just see a JNAP's Wonder Story at Worlds. That's all I'm gonna say. I think we could see something.
Maybe.
Okay.
But
Dude, that'd be insane.
I would honestly, bro, that'd make me so happy. As like a longtime G2 fan, like that was like the first team I ever rooted for in RLCS. That'd be insane. But yeah, realistically, I don't think NA is as bad as it seems going into Worlds. I think at the major they didn't have their best LAN teams, but now they do. That's another story. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. But
I
that's my
mean, I will
personal-
say there's no V1 at Worlds, so like Beast Mode and Daniel won't be at Worlds, which is kind of crazy. Like if they were there, I feel like NA would have a better chance, but like no V1, I feel like hurts NA a lot.
I think the issue with V1, in my opinion, a lot of people, they want to press the panic button on them. In my opinion, though, I think V1, I think they just didn't have enough time to gel yet. I think next season we're going to see, especially if they pick up even another player, probably obviously other than Calm, I mean, maybe a first killer. That will be a scary team. I don't think anyone can even deny that. I mean, there could be no chemistry, and that team probably is still like top 3 NA, just talent-wise. Like they can just brute force their way to a top 3. So yeah, I think V1 will figure it out, but it's too bad they're not here. I would agree though. They definitely they would have made NA stronger if they were there.
Dude,
do you
that'd
think,
be
Money?
interesting to see like the three-headed Hydra, FK or Beast Mode Daniel on the same team. Have you
Oh
ever had
god.
like a team that's just pure talent like that? Like, does that work? Because on paper it goes crazy,
I
but in the
mean,
game there's only
Hmm.
a certain amount of boost, there's only a certain amount of space.
Yeah,
Does it work?
exactly.
we've kind of seen it before, haven't we? Like, maybe not to the extent of that. I don't rate Daniel quite as high as some people do, but I still think he's good. But like, I feel like kind of like old BDS was kind of like that. I mean, even some people might argue BDS right now are kind of like that actually.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's probably a little bit different because I'd say BMO and first might be 1 and 2 NA overall. I mean, I don't know how you rate them, but they're definitely up there. So yeah, I hope we can see it. Honestly, I want to see it. I want to see it. You got EU, they're pushing. I want to see NA make a
Next.
move like that.
Hmm.
Let me see here though. NA, as bad as it seems. Yes, give me the answers then. Yes, no, maybe so. What is it? Are they as bad
Dude,
I
as
would
it
say
seems?
yes.
Yeah,
I would say yes.
I'm saying yes, bro. I'm saying everything explodes next season. We get a bunch of new
Hmm.
teams because no one can compete right now, in my opinion. I don't think they got it.
I'm
Uh,
saying no, but it's close. That's my answer. It's not as bad as it seems, but we're gonna see an explosion next season, and NA is definitely not as good as EU. So we do want to see the top players. Figure it out. Get together. Justin, LJ, Atomic, figure it out. That'd actually be a banging roster. I'd like to see
Ooh,
that.
I'd be hyped. That would
Yeah.
be
that could be
hyped.
interesting.
That would be interesting indeed. Anyways, moving along from NA or EU, Elevate actually didn't look that bad at this major? Question mark? What's going on with Elevate? Well, what's going on there? Do they have what are they gonna look like at Worlds? What do we think?
Honestly, I'm not sure. What are they rated? Do they get picked or do they get to pick a team?
I wanna
Where are they
say
at?
they
I think
pick.
they get to pick a
I
team,
think
right?
so, yeah. Yeah, they do.
Okay, well, I think they got a chance of winning a game or not a game, a series then.
Okay.
Hmm.
If
They
they
definitely
if they pick a weaker team, then
they could actually win 2 series because Limitless are there and French class. I think they're probably better than both those teams.
oh, it's Swiss.
Oh
I
yeah, I
forgot it's
agree.
Swiss.
Yeah.
It will be
So
Swiss.
that they have. I mean, they could. I mean, how they played against Vitality. If they play like that and bring that confidence in, I mean, I could see them beat like maybe like a Sam team even
A
possibly.
South American
I
team.
could see it. I could see it. Secret. I mean, Secret have not looked that great. If you watch Sam, Secret have not looked that great.
Okay, I haven't watched South America recently, so I don't know. But generally speaking, South America, like they're a really fast region. Like they'll zoom in on the ball, and I don't know if Elevate will be able to keep up. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
I don't
know.
know about that. Like Secret destroyed Gladiators last major. I feel like Sam teams no, but I feel like the only team outside of like SSA that they could really beat or APAC is like probably Pioneers. I feel like they could probably beat
Mm.
Pioneers. I feel like on paper they actually might be better with how they look against Vitality especially.
So
That
I'm
would be the
curious.
only
So I'm
team though.
curious. So when you rate this, are you rating it from the recency bias standpoint, like me? Because if I'm being honest, I mean we have a recency bias standpoint from how Elevate played, and I think Elevate played
Mm.
pretty solid at this major. I
Yeah.
mean, especially Realize.
Yeah,
Realize looked like he was just a demon. But
I
are you
agree.
rating them as that, or are you rating them
Yeah,
as you're rating them from what you saw, or just overall?
yeah, yeah. From what I saw, I think that they could beat
Really?
like a Pioneers,
But you don't think they
and
could beat like a
that's
Secret,
kind of it.
really?
No, I could just because like Secret, like these Sam teams just have so much experience at the top. Like
I
they've been in
guess.
RLCS for many seasons. They play against the best of Sam all the time. I feel like there's no way Elevate really beat them. Like maybe there's like a small chance. Like I'll give it like a small chance,
Mm-hmm.
like a 20% chance, something like that, you know?
2080.
Like I
I
feel
got a
like
little 2080.
yeah, like I feel like Elevate looked the best that like an Apex team has ever looked right now, and I feel like if there is a chance for them to make top 16, this is it. Like this would be the time. But like realistically, I think they can only really beat like Limitless, French Class, and like Pioneers. Maybe a Power if they somehow like do something crazy. Maybe a Twisted Mind, something crazy happens. But
I got
like,
I got a hot take for you, Bob. You're
uh,
not. Neither of you are gonna like this one. I already know. What about a
oh
All right, what do
G1?
you
no,
got?
What about G1 that are completely in shambles?
I think they're trash.
G1 are?
I think they're trash.
I agree.
I
I
feel
think
like.
they could beat them.
Oh, we think Elevate could beat them?
I think they could, especially if they're in
Uh,
shambles like G1 apparently are.
Dude, maybe I'm just biased, but no, I think G1 still win that, even though like I heard that they
Yeah,
weren't even practicing because they didn't even know that they were gonna be at the Step Worlds.
yeah,
They didn't even know they were gonna
Man,
be.
I
yeah.
saw that. That was so funny, bro. I was like, there's no way.
Yo.
I don't know. Hopefully, I'd like to see G1 play better. They shouldn't be losing to an Elevate, but you never
Mm.
know. You never know. Elevate
I
showed
feel
they can kind of compete. I went with. I mean, their Vitality series wasn't horrible. Liquid series was a little bit more drear, but those are two of the most mechanical
mm.
teams in the world. So we'll see against
Facts.
something like G1 or a Limitless. Obviously, they should be beating.
Yeah.
I would say though,
Mm.
overall, what do we think? Do we think they can get? What would it be? Would that be 2 wins in Swiss then? Would they end up playing 2 and winning 2 with Limitless? No, they'd win 1 probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one as well. I think
Yeah,
they go 1-3 out of the tournament.
I'd
But
agree with
even
that.
one
Yeah.
series win, that have they won a series before? Yes. Did they beat
Uh,
SSA last year?
I would assume so. Yeah.
They did beat one as his team last year, yeah, but it was a different team. It wasn't like Elevate, but
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
APAC did win, yeah.
Yeah.
Series.
Yeah, I would agree. 1 and 3
All
probably.
right.
There could be a chance for 2 and 3 though. I don't see
Mm.
them making it out though. I think that
Mm.
third
Yeah.
trial I think is gonna like if they end up going against say like I don't even know who do you have here Oxygen like
Yeah.
I don't
Round
see
five will
it.
be tough. Yeah. Round five would be tough.
Yeah. I'd say 1-3 as well. I feel like because their first round match, even though they are in the top 8, like for the draft picks, they get the last pick, so they don't actually really get to pick who they're gonna play. So
Mm.
like they'll probably get like what, like a Falcons or like
Oh.
an
Oh
Oxygen
yeah.
G1 type.
Okay. Yeah. They're already
So
losing round one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I was them, who would you choose then? If you actually had that, what'd you say? You had Oxygen, G1,
I
Falcons, probably.
mean, they're probably like a top 3, I think. Maybe Secret as well, like in this for the draftable teams.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're not gonna be able to choose whoever they're left with. They're gonna have to play against. So like I feel like it's
Okay,
gonna be like a Falcons, Oxygen, G1. Yeah.
Hmm.
interesting. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, that'll
Well,
be tough.
the only team I see them even having a chance to beat there is G1 if they're not coherent, but that'd be a tricky one too. I think
Mm-hmm.
Atomic, I think, is just levels no matter what. So
Mm, I agree.
there you go. Now let's flip the globe. Should we flip the globe? Let's go down to South
Let's do it.
America. South America, South America. Ninjas in
Ooh.
Pajamas beat Furia at this major. Actually, I know we flip flopped a little bit. We were at Worlds, but now we're back to the major a little bit. But what do we think? What do we think about Ninjas in Pajamas? Did they look decent? And then how bad was the Furia loss as well to them?
The Furia loss was definitely bad. You could see the nerves when they played. Like I don't
Mm.
remember exactly what game it was, but like the shooting was
It was a
questionable. It's like
breakfast.
yeah, like they weren't even trying to go for like the higher percentage shot. They were just shooting the ball so they didn't miss. So it's like I don't know.
watching.
At least like at least try to score. Don't try to like I don't know. Don't go for the safe shot. I don't know.
Bro,
It seemed like they were nervous.
I was watching Ben Simmons out there shooting. It was like
Oh,
it was brick, post, crossbar brick, post crossbar brick, post crossbar. Learn to shoot, Furia. You're done for. Luckily they're not at Worlds because that was a disaster class.
True.
But you know, I mean, Ninjas in Pajamas. I thought they actually, you know, they looked all right. Then you know they kind of got throttled a
Mm.
little bit by complexity after that, as they should be.
Oh yeah.
Could not take down 2 of their South American brethren, but
Uh,
yeah. I thought they looked all right though. I thought they definitely looked decent.
hmm
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm like Mata especially like really
Yeah.
impressed me. Like I thought he was gonna do good this land, but like honestly he was really good. Like he popped
Facts.
off in that Furious series especially, definitely a best player. I feel like Furia might be looking at him, trying to like snag him for next season, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Oh
But
gosh.
like yeah, Ninja Bomb was a good result, like making like winning one series against Furia, which is a good team. I felt like they could have done better, but
Yeah.
like it wasn't the worst result possible.
I think it's a good
Wait, for
result
who?
for them
Right?
overall.
Oh,
Honestly,
never mind.
like it might not be great for Ninjas in Pajamas. I mean, obviously they won 1 series, but for the teams that they actually played and how their bracket went, I don't think it was honestly that atrocious. You had an Optic who looked pretty decent when they played him, I thought. And then you had Furia. Obviously, that's a big win for him. And then I mean they took a game off of complexity, and they shouldn't probably be winning that game. So it is it's a pretty decent one, but I don't think sadly
Yeah, you
I
can't.
don't think they'll be I don't think they'll be too good at Worlds.
Mm.
So we'll see. We'll see how it goes at Worlds for them, but Yeah, I think they. I don't know. That's a tricky one. Do you think they overperformed or underperformed here at the major?
Who, NIP?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think they overperformed,
yeah.
just from beating Furia. So
I
I
agree.
think most people would have had them going 0-2.
Bop, you agree?
Mm. I would say like they performed how I expected. Like I did predict them going 0-2 as well.
Mm.
But like I felt like one series win makes sense for them. Like obviously Crew made top 8 last major, I think, and then like Secret made top 4 the major before that. So
Right.
like I would say they performed kind of like how I expected them to. So,
Yeah, I mean their bracket was not pretty at all. I thought so.
Facts.
It was what it was. If they had played like I guess what would have it been? Something like the Power Ground Zero bracket kind of that
yeah.
might have given them a little bit more
True.
confidence, but yeah, no, they got kind of a death gauntlet, especially with Moist dropping Furia down. I think Moist probably would have been a
Mm,
better matchup for them aside from Furia, but even I mean they beat Furia, so it was
What do you
mm.
guys
good though.
think about Furia here, though? Do you think it was the nerves on one hand, like this was the matchup to like qualify you for Worlds, or do you think like they was having an off day or they were struggling? What do you guys think?
Mm. I felt like for me, just like Jan wasn't even playing that bad. Like
Yeah.
individually, he still looked kind of decent. Like he was, I think he had like 90% goal participation on that team. Like he was playing pretty good. Card and Lost, like I don't really know what happened. Like Lost, the whole like split was playing so well, especially in that
Mm-hmm.
last regional. I think Lost won them that regional there. And then like he just didn't show up, which was weird because like at Worlds last season he did show up. He was playing really well at Worlds last season. But here for some reason like I don't know what happened. Like it just seemed like he was a different player. I don't know.
I think that honestly, I think that that wasn't as surprising as we might have originally thought. Because I don't think they were as good as we might have actually thought they were. They
Wait,
got one.
what?
They got one regional win, right? Listen, they got one regional win. Before that, they got what was it? Two top sixes, and then before that, it was basically irrelevant because they just sucked. Overall, I don't think it was as surprising as it was. I don't think Furia are that good. I think their chemistry is not that great, and I think they should have never let go of Kaya. And they made a move too soon. That's one of those
Mm,
made a move too soon ones that I think they might actually end up regretting.
Dude, this Ninjas in Pajamas team, dude, they picked up Kyle, dropped Kyle, and then beat Furia. Nah, I don't think Kyle was the
I don't
difference
know,
here.
bro. I think we over. No, no, I'm not saying Kyle was the difference. I'm just saying they probably would have had the same result with Kyle. I don't like loss on paper. It looked like a great result, right? It looked like a great pickup. But how they performed, it's pretty proven at this point that it didn't really matter. Like they have not done.
I see what you're saying.
They
Okay,
have
yeah.
not done much with it. I mean, yeah, they got
mhm,
their recency bias win, right? And that's probably why a ton of people rated them pretty decent going in.
mm,
And obviously, we rated them because Yan and Card usually play decent on LAN.
yeah,
And I would say Yan still played decent, and they still lost. So
yeah.
yeah, I think we just overrated them. But I would say it was a failure for Furia overall this season because they should have been
Ooh,
better. But
Dang.
they weren't better. So I think we just overrated them going in. So that loss wasn't as surprising as it might
interesting.
have been originally.
Bro,
Yeah.
I
So you
thought they
think it was?
finally. No, go ahead.
Yeah. So you think it was a failure, Jagentek? Like
I
this
think
season?
overall, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think when they first picked up Lost, I had them predicted at least top four in NA.
Mm,
So I don't know. It's a tricky one though because it's like, will they run it back? I'm actually. This is another question for you. It's a little off topic. Do you
ooh,
guys think they run it back
mm.
next year, or do they pick up
Like
somebody again?
NNA?
Yeah, yeah, and then with the same
Dude,
roster.
if they take Mota, dude, I'm throwing hands. I'm throwing hands for Astramic, bro. People keep taking
They
his
just steal them
players.
all. Yeah, it's robbery.
But yeah, I don't know. Like honestly, like, Regional 3, I thought they finally got it together. I thought they
It felt
finally
like it.
figured out. Yeah. But now after this,
Mhm.
honestly, I don't know. They might look for someone new. I don't know. But what do you think?
I predict them to go back, honestly.
Really?
I feel like they're not gonna stay in NA. Like I think their salary is higher in NA, but like I feel like they're the kind of players that I want to win. And like I think that if they go back to Sam, they'll feel like maybe they can start winning again and then like try to get back to their potential that they had last season, where like they would catch teams off guard on land because like they weren't used to playing them. So like I feel like they might kick card and they also just might go back to Sam.
I feel like that ship's
Damn.
kind of sailed with the catching off guard more so though. I feel like back
Mm,
in the day when they were catching people off guard, like now everybody knows how they play. Like they already know how those players play. So it's not like you're picking up like if like Yan, say for example, Yan picked up 2 other players, then maybe it might be a catch off guard thing. But I feel like if they just go back and they're just in South America, they'll probably just, I mean, they'll probably be obviously dominant, I would assume, in Sam. But it depends. I mean, it depends. Because I don't think that team, I don't think it's winning anything, realistically, aside from a Sam regional.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think they'll go back. I think the salary gap, it's too big. I think the salary gap's too big. It's not worth going back. But hypothetically, if they did go back, I think they would get that fear factor, not the fear factor, that the mystery factor again, because you're not scrimming the NA teams. That's the big thing. You're not playing them every week. So now you're going back to seeing them like a few times a year. So maybe they could bring back the mystery.
I guess, but like when you look at South America now, especially this most recent regional, I feel like South America is slowly like not as mysterious. Because originally, I mean, Secret, they got top 4, right? Then you had Crew, they got, what was it, top 8 with kind of a Mickey run, I'd consider it. And then you had this one, which was basically just a non-existent South America. It felt like.
Yeah. I mean, they had tough matchups though. They did have tough matchups.
That is true, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, as Rocket League goes on, you're gonna have more tough matchups. So that's just how it works.
Yeah, it's just win. You just gotta win.
I mean, and I don't know. I don't think that mysterious factor is quite there. I mean, Rule 1 maybe are kind of like an example of the mysterious factor, but I just think they're a good team. I think they were just a good team, so I don't think they caught anyone like off guard to get where they got. I think it was just a good run, more so than mystery like some might have originally thought.
Fair.
But yeah, overall, I don't think Furia will leave. I don't think they leave NA.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, I will say, like, you brought up Rule 1. I feel like for them, actually, I would consider them, like, a little bit of, like, a mystery factor. Because I felt like NAEU, these teams, like, kind of figured out how to play against Falcons. But Rule 1 is a very different team than Falcons, so I feel like they brought, like, that kind of surprise factor a little bit. I feel like it won't be as much for Worlds, but, like, I feel like at Worlds, if everyone want to win, they just have to, like, play better. But I think there was a little bit of a factor with, like, Moist and, like, Complexity, where, like, they expected more of like maybe like a Falcons play style, but it was actually like kind of different. Maybe.
Possibly. I heard from a source. Apparently, Complexity and Rule 1 were scrimming like insanely a lot. Like it was absurdly a ton. So I don't know if that was super surprising because if I'm not mistaken, apparently is it Cresport? Is that the coach?
Yeah, Cresport.
Rule 1? Yeah. He tweeted something about like. About getting stuff done or whatever, and their placement or whatever, and I saw the Agusome Complexity coach responded like, I didn't think you guys could pull this off outside of scrims, their defense stuff and stuff like that, and then they did. And so I don't think that was a mystery. I think they just were better. So I don't know. That's backed by I guess a little bit of fact, I guess technically, but yeah, no, I think the mystery factor in terms of these teams are kind of done for a little bit. And I think just Rule 1 is better than Falcons right now, so they should be placing higher. Alrighty, cool. There you go. So what do we think, by the way? What do we think here? 2 questions. Do Furia make a roster move, and do Furia move back to South America? I say no and no.
I say yes and yes.
Wow.
You said both yeses, the complete opposite.
Both yeses.
Oh gosh. I'm not sure about the roster move. I think they're gonna stay in NA. For the roster move, I'll say. I don't want to just say maybe. I'll say yes. It's a long off season. I think they might make another roster move. I don't know.
That's a
roster move.
Who do you pick up though? Like realistically, who do you pick up? Who would you replace? Like I feel like that'll be like the issue for Furia. Because like when you stay in NA, you gotta like obviously like import another player in. Because like unless you're picking up like Justin, who I'm pretty sure speaks Spanish, like I don't feel like there's like a ton of like roster moves you can make when you stay in NA. Yeah. That like makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Money. Who would you see, or Bop, either of you? Who do you guys see? Like, that they could, if they were to make a roster move, who would realistically be, like, that roster move that would make them better, and they, like, feel like they would make them better?
Dude, I think they pick up the phone, and they pick up Drops. Dude, I don't know. Drops, Rafinha, bro. I don't know, man.
I think you gotta get
maybe
Drew.
someone from
Out
Crew.
of those, it would have to be Drew.
Rafinha? Yeah, he
in
played really
replace
good.
of who though? In replace of who?
I don't know. Dude, that's
Card
tough.
or Lost? I feel like you gotta get rid of
That's
Lost. I don't
tough.
know. I feel like the Lost experiment ran its course. We know Card and Yan can be good together.
I mean, I feel like Lost was really good the split
I mean,
online.
yeah,
I
but
feel like he was
a
the best
single
player.
split. I don't know.
I feel like he had an amazing split. I don't know. Like I feel like he's the best player on Furia. For me, I feel like ideal scenario because obviously they speak Portuguese. So I feel like if you get like a Rise or a Chronic, that
Yeah,
would be obviously ideal. That would be
that would
like
be huge.
amazing. I don't know if that's possible, but like if they could, that would be insane. To-
A Chronic is a good shout, actually. That's a really good. That's a really good shout. What do you
That'd be
think,
hype.
Money?
Yeah, dude, I have no idea, but that would be hype if they got a Chronic.
Yeah, that's fair.
Mm.
Anyways, should we spin the globe again?
All right, let's
It's
mix it
time.
up.
All right.
Where are we going this time?
We're
Pack
going
your
to
bags.
OCE. Bum, 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 bum.
Shush.
Power,
Okay.
I thought represented well, but it seemed like they had no ice at this major. What did we think
Ooh.
about OCE and Power and Ground Zero, I guess, and the tiebreaker? Give me your overall, give me your analysis on this one.
I mean, both OC teams got reverse swept this
Yeah.
LAN. Like
Yeah.
Ground Zero
Gosh.
could have beat KC, Power could have beat Rule 1, but they both got reverse swept. No ice right there, no ice. All the ice was melting. They're down there in the Australia, New Zealand realm. Too hot over there, too hot, all the ice melting. But like they're decent. They're decent. I don't expect them to do much at Worlds. Like maybe top 16 at best.
Yeah.
I don't see them making top 8.
It's got to be Power,
Like they're
right?
decent.
It's got to be Power.
I
as well.
guess. Yeah, I don't expect Pioneers to do much.
Yeah.
They only got 2 spots. So like I don't expect Pioneers to do that much. Maybe Power does something. But even then, like I don't expect them to go too far.
I would agree. Money, thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know. With that Ground Zero Carmine Corp series, I didn't get to see it, but
It kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of just felt like Carmine were playing slow and then they just woke.
yeah, that's what I'm
Like,
thinking. Yeah, like, that's what I was thinking. Like, is that how it was?
it was.
Because like,
It really wasn't that close once Carmine got going. I mean, every
Yeah,
game
so-
here, let me
Yeah.
tell you, every game you had a 3-0, a 3-0, and a 5-1 in the last 3 games.
oh gosh.
And then Ground Zero took a 1-0 game, and they took a 2-1 game and 2.5-minute overtime. So, so yeah, I don't know. Ground Zero, they didn't look that great against Carmine overall. It was more so just Carmine were sucky kind of for the first 2.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
I like Ground Zero in the draft. When they not the draft, the draw. When they played the draw, I thought they were
Yeah.
actually looking pretty good. Fiber was popping off,
Mm,
That is true.
but yeah, here not so much.
I think personally,
And-
I think sorry to butt in, but I think
No,
personally,
go ahead, go
I
ahead.
think it's a mistake, or not a mistake. Obviously, is how it works. But I think it's bad for OCE that Ground Zero aren't at Worlds. I think they're better than Pioneers right now.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think it's just it's kind of doomed, but that's just how it works with the split and points. So can't do much
Yeah,
about that.
they didn't
but
play in the first split. Ground Zero are
Yeah,
a new team. They
yeah.
didn't play in the first split. So the fact they almost made
It's even
Worlds
more
after only
impressive.
playing 2 splits,
Wait, that's insane.
crazy.
Yeah,
I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
absurd. I also think they have a lot more next season, bro. I am excited. I really hope. I'm a big Ground Zero fan. I really hope that we see them replace Kaka. No disrespect to him, but I think
Really?
Fiber and Locky. I think you replace him with somebody like Finn in OCE. Finn is really good, by the way. Shout out Finn. I think they replace Kaka with somebody like those, or somebody like Finn, or even I think Gus. I'm pretty sure as well. One of those two. I'd like to see that. I think that'd be a good
Maybe.
roster.
Maybe. I don't watch OC enough to like fully know,
Yeah.
but like I do like the Ground Zero team right now. So like, who knows? We'll see.
That is fair. But yeah,
I don't know
overall,
either.
I would say that OCE, they got a ways to go. Let's just say that, honestly. It's just OCE. I feel like at this point, it's just like they don't really have any real potential to do any accurate damage. Maybe they can take one surprising series, but not much more than that, if we're being honest. Does everyone agree with that?
Mhm. Yeah.
I think what to go like 1 and 3.
Yeah, just like basically just be there. Maybe have one good series, maybe 2 surprisingly, but nothing else than that.
Yeah, I think they might make it to round 5, but I don't really see
Yeah.
anyone winning round 5. Maybe Power wins round 5 against I don't know who it would be, but
Yeah. It would
yeah, I don't see Pioneers doing it.
Yeah, I'd be shocked by that one if that was to happen. Money. Should I do the globe spin again? What do you think?
Yeah, let's mix it
All right,
up.
spin the globe
Time to pack your
again.
bags again.
We're going to Middle East again. a little bit more. We're gonna touch on them
Hey.
properly. Twisted Minds got a world spot unlocked for Rule 1, making top 4. And, these
Huge.
spots actually were kind of crazy, I feel like. Originally, what was it? NA? They went into the event with NA having, what, 7? And
Yeah.
then they ended
Yes.
with 5. And Rule 1, they unlocked a... What was it? Sam unlocked one, and then Rule 1 got another one, right? Is
I
that
think
correct?
like EU got another
No,
one,
not
maybe.
Yeah,
EU.
And,
Yeah,
like-
EU as well. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Either way, though, what did we think about Rule 1? I know we talked about him a little bit earlier, but what do we think about Rule 1? What do we think about Mena and how our, Twisted Mind's going to do at Worlds as well?
I was impressed by Rule 1's performance, like especially just right off the bat, taking down Crew. And I don't know, I think most people had them winning that matchup on paper, but it's definitely a tough match. Crew had some great moments. I think they had like a 0-second goal. Was that series? They had a 0-second goal to tie it up.
I
Like
think so.
they had great chemistry, like Drafinho and Drops passing plays. So Rule 1 really clutched up to win that first series, and then I think it was also, which was it? Yeah, the series against Complexity that we talked about that earlier, so I'm not gonna dive into it too much. But that was a really clutch series from them, and I think Rule 1 definitely has what it takes to be a top team.
Mm-hmm.
You agree, Bob?
I gotta say, Rule 1, what a performance. I gotta say, all 3 players, Mohsen, Kalirs, Rawaz,
Yeah.
all 3 players played so well. Mohsen, especially, I feel like he was really underrated going into this LAN.
Mhm.
People didn't really know how he was gonna play, because, like, people know the twins, of course, Rawaz, Kalirs. A lot of people don't really know Mohsen that much, but, like, he played really well, I think, defensively, offensively, in the midfield. Everything, like, he was probably their third best player, yeah, but, like, he wasn't, like, a clear weak link. Like how
Right.
like Radosin, for example, was clear
I
weak
would
link
agree.
on Vitality. I felt like all 3 players played well. The twins, though, I gotta say, especially like on defense, that Vitality
my
series,
God.
that was crazy.
Gosh.
Kalirs had really good like pop-off plays, good offense plays. Like overall, this Rule 1 team, I'm very excited. And like for Worlds, I feel like they could even do better than they did this LAN. I think like yeah, this is a good team. This is a really good team.
I agree. I agree 100%. I don't know if they have. I don't know if they have a chance to win Worlds. Sadly, I don't know if I can go that far and say that, but I would agree that they are. They're very solid. And I think people. I don't think people. Anyone that wasn't watching Middle East, I feel like they very much underrated Kalirs. Kalirs very well might be the best player on that team, and he has been actually
Oh,
probably
yeah.
since about the first, maybe second regional of this split. I would say probably past Ruas. Just because I would
agree.
say he's better on offense as well. He's a better shooter. In fact, he might be one of the best shooters in the world. That might be a topic for another day. But I'd say he's up there.
Yeah.
And then you combine that with the defense, and he might even be top 5 in the world right now, depending how you rate him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kalir's a masterclass for Ross. He really unlocked the first day. I didn't think he looked that great. He looked maybe a little bit nervous. And Mousen actually stepped up to elevate them, and I thought that was great. They backed him, and then we saw the whole team come together to beat Complexity, I thought. And then it really is a shame. It's a shame to me that they could not even take a game off Vitality, because that series was so close. Like it was such a close series with being a 4-0. But yeah, realistically, that series, it very easily could have been like a 7-game series. I felt like had a few few bounces gone the other way, a few saves or shots gone a little bit further to the right or left or something like that. So yeah, no, I'm excited to see Rule 1, and especially if they end up picking up Nuipo maybe next season, or we'll see another Middle East team pick them up. They could be very dangerous then. But yeah, they're very good as they are right now. Money, what do you think about Rule 1?
Yeah. Wait, I lost my train of thought. I think I said everything I wanted to say. I think there might have been one more thing.
Okay. Money,
I don't know. I can't think of it.
Tell us about Twisted Minds then. How about that?
Twisted Minds, dude. Honestly, I have not seen this team play. I haven't seen them
Okay,
compete.
okay.
But hey, they took down Falcons in the, I think it was the lower bracket grand final. So that's big stuff right there. Was it a sweep or no? Was that? I think
It was close series.
I think
4-3,
so.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure. I think they were
even more
3-1
impressive.
though in that series, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Oh, okay. Well, they still clutched it up in Game 7. That's big moves. Who's on that team? That's Senzo's team, right? Senzo and who's he with?
Senzo, Venom, SMW.
SMW
Venom,
is very underrated as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't seen them play in like a whole year. I haven't seen them compete at all. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm
They'll
definitely
be
looking forward to seeing
good.
them.
They'll be good. Bob, have you seen them play?
Oh, I've seen them play a lot.
All
I
right.
mean, so that like Money brought it up to beat Falcons to knock them out.
Mm-hmm.
This past regional to knock them out, making the major. The regional before that, they 4-0 swept Rule 1. This is a team that could beat anyone, I think. Like this is the biggest dark horse for me at
Yep.
Worlds. I
I
feel
agree.
like I have all MENA teams making top 16, and I feel like they're a team that like if they made top 8, I wouldn't even be that surprised. Like that's pretty
Wow.
Yeah.
crazy, but like they have the potential to beat anyone, I think. They're just like that kind of team. Like SMW, for example, most people in MENA consider him to be a top 3 player in
Oh
MENA,
yeah.
like better than some of the names that like everyone knows. I feel like he individually probably better than anyone on Falcons right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like that team, like I would argue that they're second best team in MENA right now. I feel like they're more consistent than Falcons can like recently. And like Falcons been falling off a little bit. Like I think Falcons still will be fine at Worlds. But like I think this team is like that kind of team that like would just shock everyone at Worlds.
Wow.
I agree. I agree. I think they are the biggest dark horse at Worlds going in. Maybe along with G2 actually. I think they're gonna be good as well.
Mm-mm.
But
Okay.
yeah, I think Twisted Minds, like you said, they definitely have a chance to get top 8, maybe even top 4 if we're being a little crazy.
Ooh.
Is this team actually insane? You guys are hyping this
Well,
team.
money, money, money,
I
money.
haven't seen the team
Money,
play, bro. You
money.
guys give them top 8 at Worlds.
Money, money. You gotta know who's SMW is, my boy. Money. Look up SMW.
Dude, I saw him
after
play
the
a year ago.
podcast, bro. He
That's
is
the last
insane.
I haven't seen him in a whole year, bro. I haven't seen him in a whole year.
No, he is insane, and like Bob said, I mean, they actually have looked better than Falcons. I mean, they obviously took down Falcons, and they have been very good. Also, the people in the chat saying Twisted Minds are not making it a wild card, you guys are delusional. There's no way they don't. If they don't, like, I'll eat my sock. Like, I don't even know.
Yeah, they should make it out of
No, they should.
100%.
But yeah, no. I mean, Senzo, he's pretty good on land. We've seen him play well on lands before.
Mm-hmm.
Was he on Veloce last year? I can't remember.
Yeah, they didn't perform that well,
Yeah, it
unfortunately.
was questionable at Worlds. But then
So-
before that, we saw him, what was it, the fall split? Is that right?
Mhm.
Fall split last year? And he played,
Yep.
I thought at times he actually looked like the best player on that team in certain series. If we
Oh,
go all
yeah.
the way back there. So yeah, Senzo, he's very good. I don't know a ton about Venom. I actually I feel like whenever I watch that team, it's always just like I watch Senzo or I watch SMW.
Yeah.
But apparently Venom is very good too.
Wait, I think
from
that's
what
the
I've
one
heard.
guy I've seen. Did he just join the team like last split? Like a split
I
ago?
think so. You might be right
I
about
think
that.
he might be.
Because yeah, I feel like I watched Pyro cast him on a different team, like the Mountains or something like that. Mountains, something like. I don't know.
Let's see if I can find it. But yeah,
'Cause, yeah, I feel like he joined.
either way, they are very,
All right.
very good. And all I'm hoping for, bro, is they better play well. That's all I want to see, is them playing at least well and show everybody.
Yep.
Show everybody what
And
they
you
can
said
do.
it. You said it. If they don't make it out a wild card, if they don't make top 16, he's eating a sock.
He's
Hold
eating a
him to
sock.
that.
I
Jagentek's
don't know.
chat. Hold him to
I don't know
that.
how
clip
I'd be
that.
able to do that,
We got the
but
clip.
we'll try. Who is in wild? Hold on. Who's in wild card? Oh yeah, they should be able to make it out of here.
Yeah, they'll be fine on wild
That-
card.
that-
Yeah,
that should
they'll
be a
be
wild
fine.
card victory.
Wait, what do you mean they'll be fine? Hold on. Let me name some of these teams right now. Hold on.
Okay,
Let me name
okay.
some of these
Here,
teams.
I'll tell you, money. I'll tell you who they
Complexity
can beat.
gaming.
No, I'll tell you who they can beat. So they can't beat Moist. They could beat Oxygen. They could beat G1. They're not beating Complexity. They could beat Space Station. They probably won't beat G2. They can easily beat
could beat
Pioneers.
Space Station. Dude,
Easily beat Power. They can definitely beat Crew in Secret. Falcons might be a little bit of a struggle, and then all of the Sub-Saharan Africa and Asia Pacific teams they should beat as well. So
you've
realistically,
only
I
got
see-
4 teams. You got 4 teams above them. That's it. Only 4, 5.
There could,
4?
I mean, there could be 5. It depends. I would say, realistically speaking, I have a hard time seeing them beat Complexity. I have a hard time seeing them beat G2, Moist, Space Station, and then Falcons, or maybe one of the the South America teams. But other than that, I don't see them losing it against
All
any
right,
of these
well,
other
that's-
teams.
Based on that, that's a good chance to make it out. I don't know. I can't argue with it. I haven't seen the team play, but I don't know. That seems like a high expectation. But hey, I'm looking forward to it.
They
See
should
how they
be
do.
good. I'm excited. I'm excited to see them play. They should be good. I mean, they could let us down, but I don't see it happen.
Yeah.
All right, boys. We have made it through all of our major topics aside from one, which is probably the most important one, actually. Not all of the players got to play in front of a crowd at this LAN. What do we think of it? And do we think that a Friday crowd on this LAN would have actually affected some of the results.
Ooh. I think it could have. I think honestly, like NA, of course, that second day did not look good. Of
Hmm.
course, like Optic, you had who else lost on the second day? Like Optic, SSG. Like these teams, I feel like both of them would have played better with the crowd. I don't know
Yeah.
if they would have won the series or not, but I felt like with an NA crowd backing them, they could have won those series, yeah. And also just like talking about this topic in general, I feel like if you make a major, I feel like you gotta have at least one series in front of a crowd.
You have to,
Like I
right?
feel
I
like
agree. Yeah.
yeah, like you're making a major, and also for Worlds, like the whole wild card won't be. There's gonna be no crowd for that.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like it's kind of sad. Like you make it that far, I feel like you should have
Yeah.
at least some people cheering you on.
I feel like it's just
Yeah.
such a like it's actually this is my least favorite part about Lance. Like that exact thing. The fact that not every team gets to play in front of a crowd to me is so backwards because you work so hard to get to like the crowd, right? Like when you think of a LAN, you think of a crowd. If you don't get to play in front of a crowd, like why is it even there at that point? Like I feel like it's just dumb. Unless you have more
Mm.
than one stream, like an A and B stream, for example. Then it's fine. Like then it makes sense, right? But on Friday
Yeah.
there was no A or B stream, so not having a crowd that day made no sense. And also to answer that question, I do definitely think that certain results might have been a little bit different in front of a crowd. I think SSG and Optic especially are just like they're
Redo's dad, you know,
yeah Redo's
Redo's
dad.
dad.
I mean
Uh,
Arsenal in the crowd too. Arsenal always hypes up the crowd. Yeah,
Mm.
no, especially since it was an NA crowd too. Yeah, that would have been that definitely would have
yeah.
benefited, especially those two teams, if not other ones as well. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it was bad. It was bad not having it. Money, what do you think about the crowds?
Yeah, I don't have too much else to add to that. I
Nothing
think
else?
that definitely those were the two like main matches that could have swung the other way, like the Optic versus Team Liquid, losing in
Mm-hmm.
5, very close series. Optic trying to get that reverse sweep. Maybe the crowd was the little bit more that they needed to get over
That
the line.
momentum, yeah, I feel like that momentum
Yeah.
adds. I mean, if you watch like other sports, like a crowd, like especially in basketball, if you're watching, if a team's hitting like say three pointers in a row, getting a stop on the defensive end, you go back, you run it back, you get a three, you get another stop on D, you shoot another three, it's in. Like that's kind of the same feel in Rocket League. I feel like you win a series, you run it back again, the crowd gets more hype every time as you build up in the series.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a chance to do that. It's just like you're kind of just playing there by yourselves. Just it's just like any other game, kind of. Whereas on land, that's like the thing, in my opinion, on land that makes land exciting is the crowd. To hype it up and well, kind of throw off some teams maybe. So yeah, I
That's
personally I do think that Optic probably would have beaten Liquid with a crowd as well. That the energy was just it would have been there. It definitely would have. But yeah, no, I definitely think that crowd. You gotta have that crowd. Either way though, the crowd is done. Now, money. I saw you clapping before. Now you can clap again because we got all of our major things done
there it
finally.
is.
There it
We've
is.
done it.
Yes,
Oh.
sir.
Phenomenal.
Now we're gonna flip the script because there's some talk in the in the little Twitter community out there. Bob, I know you're a little a Twitter community fella. But we had some talk that if I'm not mistaken, it was First Touch yesterday that kind of originally sparked the debate. But what is
Mhm.
a bubble player? Bates was saying that Koi he doesn't think is a bubble team, or he does think is a bubble team.
Yeah.
So now I want to know. Tell me in depth. Give me a whole analysis, Bob. What do you think's a bubble player? What do you think a
Mm.
bubble team is?
So, in my opinion, and I think it's the popular opinion among most people, if you're a consistent like RLCS player, like you're making top 16 most of the time, main event player, I think you're a pro, right? You're getting paid a salary,
Yeah.
you're like right there, you're playing against the top teams in the world on the mainstream, stuff like that. Like I feel like you have to consider them a pro player. Like the fact that like T-Bates, like I love T-Bates. T-Bates,
Yeah.
he brings the discussions. I love his take sometimes. Like he's a great guy, great guy. I love him so much. I felt like that take though was a little bit disrespectful. Like I saw Sosa,
To
he wasn't
Koi,
happy
yeah, I
about
would
that on
agree.
Twitter. And like I feel like Koi especially, like they're a team that's like made top eights, they're consistently in like that top 12 kind of range. They're definitely a pro team in my opinion. Like for a bubble player, I would say bubble player is basically like day 3 close qualifier players that like basically like are close to making the main event, or maybe they make the main event like once or twice in their career, but like they're not consistently there. And even teams that like are close to making close qualifiers, so like in that 17 to like 28, 17 to 32 range, that's where I would consider like bubble players. But like anyone above that are definitely pro in my opinion, especially if they're getting paid a salary.
Yeah,
Valid.
facts. And that's the main thing for me. Like the salary, it's the main difference for me. Like if you're getting paid to perform, and even if say for example your team's maybe like top 20 in the world, if you're still like on a professional team and you're getting paid, I think that's the difference. Like I think that's the difference between bubble player and not bubble player. Like if you're top 17 and you're not on a team, you're not making as much money as someone that's on a team, I'd say that's bubble. Maybe even like top 15 and you're not getting paid a salary, I'd consider that bubble as well. But if you're a top 20 and you're getting paid, I think you got to consider yourself a pro. You got to refer to those players as pro because that's literally their job that they're doing.
So Money, I
Not
have a
really
question.
consider
I have
as
a
much.
question actually for Money
Yeah.
and Bob. Do we think a team like say Axel this past split, do we think that they would be considered bubble, or are they pros? Because I would personally, I'd say they're probably bubble.
You'd say they're a bubble. So okay, so we might need your definition of what bubble is. Cause like I get the argument that like they're bubble because they're on like the edge of like breaking into like sometimes they miss the regional to like 16, 15, 17, 18. But like I don't know, for me they're getting paid. Like if hypothetically the
So just
tournaments
if you're
split
getting
24.
paid. So if you're getting paid
Yeah.
20 bucks in a month,
No,
you're
no, no,
a
no,
pro?
no, because you
It's got to
wouldn't
be
join
like
an
a
org to
salary,
earn
is what you're
$20.
telling me?
Yeah, like salary,
Okay.
salary. Yeah, my bad. Not earnings, not earnings, but yeah,
Okay.
salary.
So my definition. You asked my definition. Personally, first of all,
Yeah.
honestly, like I think it can change because I think certain teams have bubble players and others actually aren't bubble players. Like to me, when I look at a player or a team, like when I look at say Koi, like all three of those players are established RLCS players. Like
Yep.
they can make main event. That's not a question. Whereas if there's a player that I feel like is specifically holding a team back, maybe this is like an extreme example. I'm not saying Squishy's a bubble player, but to me, when you watch NRG, like Squishy was always holding them back. I wouldn't say he's a bubble player, but when you watch like teams that are lower, for example, right? Say a team is just on the cusp of making a main event and they can't quite do it. I think the bubble player is a term that you can use to describe a player that is actively holding back a team from being the piece to make the main event. So say like I don't even know. Like let me pull up an example exactly because without the example it's kind of pointless. But I think that kind of makes sense. Does that kind of make sense?
I
I
think
see
so
what you're
too.
saying. Yeah, I don't really agree, but like I see what you're saying though.
Let me see if I can find something here.
Yeah, I feel like one team that's in my head that like I'm not sure if I would consider them pro or bubble is like G League. So like Aqua, Zanil, Knight,
Yeah, I'd
because they
definitely say that's
made.
bubble. I'd call that
Oh, you say
bubble.
they're bubble?
I would definitely say they're bubble.
They
Yeah.
don't have a salary, but they did have a salary before that. Like all three players
Yeah.
were on teams where they're getting salaries before this.
See, that's why it's so tricky because
But
like it genuinely depends on the
Yeah.
results of a team, right? Like to me, like they're not making consistent main events. Back in the day, like Aqua, he was on what Rogue, I guess, and I felt like they were making pretty
Yeah.
consistent main events.
Yeah.
So I would have considered Aqua a pro. But now, I mean, apparently they're
Mhm.
not even like scrimming or something, and it's all falling apart. So I wouldn't, as of right now, I would say that G League are definitely a bubble team.
Mm.
Another
So
team
their
that
bubble
I
team. Yeah.
Yeah, another team that I'd throw in there is well, like I said, actually, Axel. I think that like Toasty, I think
Yeah.
is fantastic. But Taroko, if we're being honest, I don't think Taroko is that great anymore. At one point, he was definitely a pro, but I think it can change throughout time if you're not improving. And I mean, obviously, Taroko, he was winning events with First Killer at one point. But now, I mean, he can barely squeak in to events at times. So it really just depends on your team and how you're placing and the work you're putting in, I feel like. What do we think about that one, Money? What do we think? Do you agree? You think that it can depend on events, or is it a very consistent description to you?
Dude, I don't know, bro. I'm losing my own description because, like, I agree with what you said about G League since they're not getting paid a salary. Also, the performances aren't there. They're not making all of the regionals and stuff. I'd consider that a bubble team as well.
Yeah. See, back in the day, it was so easy to describe a bubble pro because you literally just had like another league, pretty much, right? But now it's
Yeah.
like, is the other league, quote unquote, the fact that you're not making top or main events? Like, is that the description?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that to me, a bubble pro at the very core is you're not making consistent main events. If you make one, I still wouldn't consider that you're a pro. Like if you make one, because that means you're not consistent. You're still lower than all the other teams that are consistently making it. So you're on the bubble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, for example, would you guys consider, say, like, would you guys say that like M80 were bubble pros? I'd say they weren't because they were just barely sneaking in, but they did make. I'm pretty sure I think every single regional. So.
Yeah, and they had some good runs, low-key. They had a couple good runs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're also making a salary too, because M80 was a org. I think they disbanded or something, or they dropped their
It's
roster.
done now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would consider
But
them pros then.
You would. Okay.
yeah, like last
Valid.
split, no doubt they're pros. They had like good, they made like top 8 a couple times. I think like they're really good. And this split is where like it's a little bit closer. I would still consider them pros, but
Yeah.
like they were very close to that like bubble level.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, like I was saying, I think it really depends on the player too. Because I thought Percy and Lion Blaze specifically on that team were much better than Kinsey overall. But Kinsey, I wouldn't quite consider him a bubble player. But if he's on a team next season where he is not consistently making main events, then I'd consider him a bubble player. I mean, that's just that's basically my definition. And then I mean,
Okay, so-
you can also bring up like, for example, if you're like I lost the train of thought. Go ahead, money talk.
gosh.
I'll think about
Yeah,
it.
I was just
I'll
gonna.
remember.
I was gonna say, okay, so to generalize, your basically consensus of bubble player is like outside like the top 16, like not making the main event generally.
You have
Most of the time.
to me, you have to consistently make a main event, and that can
Okay.
change
Okay.
with the roster though. Because if you have a worse roster but you're still a really good player, even if say Shopify was not making main events, it would be, I feel like they're still bubble players, right? They'd still be a bubble players because they're not making the main event. Even if the two piece, everyone knows how good two piece is. Or say like even, I mean, it's very weird to say, but like say like Complexity wasn't making main events. I don't see a world where that doesn't happen. But say they wouldn't, right? Then I'd still consider them all bubble players because they can't make the main event. It just changes through the times.
Okay, that's a fair definition. Yeah, that's consistent. That's a fair definition.
So I think overall, the single definition would be a team that is consistently making main events. Not in and out, but consistently making basically every single one. Do we agree with that one?
No, I'm sticking with you. If you're getting a salary, dude, you're a pro player, man.
So it's
You're a pro,
just the
man.
salary, really. But see, actually, well,
Yeah,
that's where
the
you
main
gotta
thing
talk,
for me.
actually.
That's the main thing. All right, what do you got?
So to you, literally anyone getting salaried, no matter if you're placing out 30th in an event, say Dark Zero, right? Dark Zero would be a great example.
Yeah,
of this, 'cause
that's
they were
Dark
getting.
Zero.
Wait, Dark Zero was an org? That was an org?
They were, yeah. They had Turbo.
Yeah, that's a big org. Pretty decent size.
You were
org.
getting
it is.
paid.
Yeah, bro, they were bombing out of stuff, but you still consider
I had
them.
no
So
idea.
you still consider them pros and not bubble pros? That's what you're saying? Because I would never consider them like pros at that point. That's why I'm saying though it can change. Because obviously Turbo at one point was like the top of the
Yeah.
world, but then he wasn't anymore. So that's bubble pro area.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying.
Fair,
Mm.
fair
But,
enough.
yeah.
Money. He didn't know Dark Zero. He didn't know about Turbo. That's crazy.
I did not know about Dog Zero, bro.
Also,
I
in
did
case
not know that was an
anyone.
org.
In case anyone's
thought they was
wondering the
gaming.
definition of pro, by the way, here's your definition really quick. Just, I mean, you can add it up. I don't know. Maybe Money's right about the salary technically with this definition, I guess. A professional is a member of a profession or any person who works in a specified professional activity. So I guess if you're working, you're getting paid. I mean, technically that by that definition, you are just a pro. But I think it depends. Also, Late Inferno says, thoughts about Z2O. What do we think about them?
Ooh, that's Angel.
That's Tool as well. Angel Tool.
Tool.
Astro maybe.
and Astro.
Sounds
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I say they're bubble.
Honestly, I haven't seen them played that much, but shout out Astro. I think he's KBM. So I always gotta
Yeah, he is.
support the KBM gamers. Probably a top 10 team in the world right now, probably. You know, we'll see them
I
next year.
would consider
RLCS.
them bubble. I
Yeah,
would say they're
definitely
bubble.
bubble. I mean, what they made one or maybe two main events, so yeah, it's on the
Yeah.
cusp. It's on the cusp. If they had made every main event, then they're pro. But I mean, by my definition, they are a bubble team. So yeah, they are a bubble team.
Yeah, Tool individually really good player. I think Tool could have a breakout season next season.
Mhm.
Feel like he's been popping off recently, so.
Hopefully, NA, figure it out. Get some of these good players out of the bubble, please. I'm begging, please. Get it with these top talents, please. So give me some good talents as well.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right,
hoping
Bob.
for a crazy off season.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Bob, would you like to segue us into your tweet? You want to tell the people?
Ooh. Okay, yeah. So I made a tweet earlier today. I've heard this rumor for a while now, and I was surprised that like Shift or like someone else hasn't like talked about it yet. I don't know if they're like avoiding it because they don't want to get like Psyonix mad. But like I've heard this rumor, but it's not confirmed. But most likely there's gonna be about like a 5 month long off season after Worlds for RLCS. So like RLCS won't start until basically like January of next year. And so like there's pros and cons. I think like pros are like it's gonna be called RLCS 2024, I think, which is kind of a cleaner name. RLCS 24, like it kind of like sounds better. And like it gives pros like a lot of time to like craft their teams correctly and like make sure they know what they're doing instead of just making a quick roster move without even like thinking about it. But so we're gonna have to wait like 5 months and for RLCS, which could be kind of sad. Like there won't be like that hype during those months for like RLCS right then. But then it could build hype for RLCS after, because like if we have
That's
to wait
true.
that long, then
The waits.
like it'll be kind of exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, what do you guys think about like potential 5 month long off season?
Dude, that would be insane. Like the
I
team
want it.
implications, like for
I want
NA, especially like everything would blow up. Teams would be like there'd be a bunch of new teams forming, but would EU teams stick together? Like say for example, Vitality wins. Obviously they're gonna stick together.
Yeah.
I think yeah, Vitality
But
would.
like if you finish like maybe top 4 and there's like a 5 month long off season, are you gonna stick with your team?
I
Like
think.
dude, that's a long time.
See, first of all, I think that
Stuff
it's.
changes so
I
quick.
think it's very good. By the way, first of all, I think this is so needed in the Rocket League scene because it is way too long. If we're being honest, bro, it gets tiresome. Like covering and like doing this stuff for. I mean, it feels like basically the whole year right now. Essentially, maybe what there's a 2 month break, 3 month break after, maybe 2 months after Worlds. But yeah,
not
it's
even, I
tiring.
don't think.
There's too much, and also, I mean, it gives the players. I mean, these players, bro, they are working hard out there for
Facts.
so many months. Like it's more wearing than like the most jobs. I feel like when you really look at it, because they're grinding, especially the players that put in a ton of hours. Like that is a lot of time being taken up where they can't do anything else. So having like a decent off season allows the players to regenerate. You know, not get as wore out, I would say, as well as lets them really try the teams they want and build the teams they want instead of feeling like, oh God, we got to hurry up and make this move so that we can compete for the next season, pretty much. Because if I'm not mistaken, there was somebody, I can't remember which roster it was, but at the end of last season, there was some roster that was like, it might have been Rise's roster actually, whatever roster he was on at the time. Was it Moist?
Oh yeah, I
still?
think you're
Moist?
right.
Moist. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
go
had to
ahead,
they
yeah.
had to hurry it up and try to find someone. Apparently, they were on like vacation and
Yeah.
they were trying to find players, and there was a disaster of things, or maybe it was in between something else. But either way, it allows players more time to actually rest and recuperate from this season. It gives them less burnout, which is fantastic in my opinion, and it actually just lets them have like a life. A life is kind of cool sometimes. So yeah. Overall, I think it's great, and it also Bob said it a little bit, or maybe Money said it, I can't remember which one of you guys. But I think it actually would build up hype because everyone saw how excited people were for the first LAN back. When you have time off of something, it builds hype faster. I feel like it's more easy to get excited about it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like there's gonna be teams that like are gonna be so different. Like for example, Squishy will have a brand new team probably. Like you think about Garrett, where Garrett's gonna go, where's Justin gonna go? Like for NA, like people are gonna be really excited. Like I've heard rumors about FaZe potentially like
Yeah.
leaving RLCS. So like First Killer might have a new team. Like it's gonna be really exciting. So if we have to wait that long, like the hype could be crazy. Like people
Yeah.
might be like so excited to watch that first regional and then eventually the first LAN. Like that'll
Right.
be cool.
I think it also allows time for there to be like off-season tournaments if like anyone wants to,
Mhm.
properly host one and not just kind of try and throw one together.
True.
Like no disrespect to the ones that are out there right now, but I feel like a lot of them aren't as professional as they could be almost because they don't have obviously a ton of time. They got to work around RLCS basically the entire year. So if you had like I don't know an off-season say DreamHack or something, that'd be really cool to see. And yeah, that'd be fire. Also, Bob, you mentioned NA. I think we'll probably see the entire world just explode in terms of rosters.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll just be NA.
Okay, okay. Ali Inferno asked a question like, so like, let's say KC don't win Worlds, right? Let's say they get like a decent performance, maybe like a top four or something like that. Do you think they stick if it's like a 5 month long off season?
That's a tough one.
I think. Go ahead, Money. Go ahead. I'll let you.
No, honestly, I have no idea. I don't know if they will or they won't.
I think
Like
if
if
you're. That's tricky. I think if
like
you're
who do they
them.
even get rid of? Yeah.
What I could see, honestly, what I see more than likely happening is they look around, see what the rest of the world is doing. Say they do get a top four, right? Top four.
Mm.
If they win, I think they stick. But I don't see
Yeah.
it happening. I don't see it happening. So say they do lose, go out top four, top six, something like that. I would see Vatira leaving. That would be my guess. He leaves to go to another team instead of the
Imagine
opposite.
Vatira for Dozen.
Yeah,
Imagine.
You're the
something like that. Yeah.
vitality.
Or BDS. I mean, he could replace like Seiko on BDS or something like that as well.
True. Maybe Rise leaves, he goes to BDS, something like
Something like
that.
that.
Like,
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
But yeah, that's what I would see. Or
mm,
like Lemon said in the chat, they could drop Exotic. I would also. That could be a very realistic possibility as well. I don't see. I have a hard time seeing Itachi do something different unless there's something better, which I don't know if there would be. So
Yeah, I don't know.
it's between the
Tachi,
other
I
two.
think it's a Tachi that's been there the longest, right? He was there before both the other players.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Although I do feel like
What else
Exotic
can
is
we-
better, but
Really, you do? But I've never been high on
Yeah, I
Exotic.
don't know.
really, I feel like this
Yeah.
major, I feel like Exotic performed better than Itachi. I feel like online Itachi was probably like, actually no, even online I think Exotic was better than Itachi. So yeah, I feel like Exotic is a better player, in my
I don't
opinion.
know. Yeah, I
Dude,
don't
I
agree
think
with that one.
Exotic's been really good, but like, I can't put Itachi below him. I don't know, just like
Bro, the
just the
stats, I
playmaking that
think-
Itachi does,
The stats
plus like
back
his
it.
shooting. Yeah, and his shooting's insane. His shooting's really underrated, mostly because of teammates calling him a top-end specialist, bro. Like that nickname, it can't leave him anymore.
That's
but,
bro.
like,
It's
his
literally
shooting's really good.
Bates is right
shooting's
about that though. He's
insane.
actually right though. He is, but like I don't think that's a bad
Like,
thing.
yeah, but it's like he
Yeah.
still has to hit the shot. Like his teammates set him up perfectly for the shots.
No,
But
I
like
mean,
if
it
the
takes
shot's
skill to be
average,
there,
it's getting
right?
saved.
Yeah, it takes
Yeah,
skill to
if the
be there.
shot if it's an average shot, it's getting saved though.
Yeah, I would agree though. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Well, that's a tricky one there, honestly. Overall though, they probably I could see them wait as well. I see a scenario where they just might wait and see what the rest of the world does, see what EU
Yeah.
does, and then they figure it out from there. Because if like you're actually threatened by teams, you see a team build and you're like, okay, that one's beating us. We're down. We're done after that one. Then I mean, yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta obviously improve. But if every other team you're still confident, like you can hang with them, you can beat them, you have a chance. Like then I don't know why you move, especially with how good they are. But I mean, if Moist broke up. And Moist, realistically, I mean, I don't know. I still thought that team they shouldn't have ever disbanded. So, Rocket League moves
Yeah.
fast, and realistically, we'll probably see him break up. Like, that would be my prediction.
Mm. Well,
Money, you got anything else to elaborate on that one?
No, not too much. I also agree that the 5 month break is going to be like it's a really good amount of time. Gives players the time, as both of you said, to like enjoy life, take a little bit of a break from the game, get your new rosters together if you're making a new team, and yeah, it also builds the hype, as Bob said. Like
Yeah.
so. And oh yeah, also like I have to agree with like the name RLCS 24.
It's so
RLCS
nice.
2024. Dude, Chef's Kiss. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful naming.
What'll be even better about that as well is I think the fact that you won't actually have the the fall split and the winter split and the spring split be like not even accurate to what they actually are. Cause right now they're actually like they're not even the proper thing. Like right now, what are we in? We're in the spring split in summer. Is that so?
Yeah. Spring split in July. That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully they can fix that. Also, I'll be interested to see, bro. I really hope they change the format of it. That's what I really want to see. Because the format in general, like I don't know, it's great. I've seen a lot of proposed ones. That's always the tricky part, though. You try and change a format, and then there's always going to be an issue or two in it. So, I want a fresh format though. We've had it for what 3 years now? The same one? 2 years? 3? 2, 3?
I don't know.
Three.
That's been a while.
Technically 3, I guess, because RLCS X was, but then we just didn't have the lands, right? So,
True.
yeah. So that was that.
Yeah. I
Speaking
want them
of
to change the names back too, bro. Like the Spring Cup, the Spring Open.
Yeah.
Dude, just make it regional 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
bro. Like,
I agree. It doesn't make any sense, bro. When I'm on Wikipedia, I'm scrolling through. I'm like, wait, where do I go?
Which
What
one
is this one? Yeah.
which one was it?
It's so impossible. It's actually so impossible. But you know what else is impossible? Squishy Muffin's playing for NRG. Squishy leaves NRG, guys. Yeah, I had to hit him. NRG fans, they're watching that. It just got stabbed. But poor. Yeah, Squishy fans, they're in shambles. But Squishy. After a long time, he's left NRG. What do we think about that? And what do we think the future holds for Squishy?
Well, first of all, dude, I was actually pretty surprised that people were surprised about Squishy leaving.
Yeah.
Like it's been over a year that people are saying, oh, they need to make a roster move,
Right.
and now they finally made a roster move. People are, Squishy, he's leaving. I was like,
Done for. The tears rolling down. Man.
But yeah, overall, dude, I have no idea where he's gonna go, what's gonna happen with the team, and yeah, I do want to see great stuff from him though. I hope he bounces back. I really hope he proves the haters wrong, and that he can still perform at like a high levels with a different team. So we'll see. Bop, what do you think? Where do you think he's gonna go and stuff?
Ooh. I think like realistically, like he won't join like a top team. Like I feel like most like top teams aren't gonna look at Squishy as like a potential player to join their team. Like maybe get some tryouts, but like realistically, and like he said it on stream too. I think he's probably gonna pick up like 2 bubble type players
Ooh.
and like try to craft
be
something
good.
new with them. I don't know who it'll be. I think like there's a lot of options. Of course, like M80 just disbanded. Maybe he snags one of them. G League, of course, I'm sure they'll disband. He might snag one of them. You know, like there's a lot of different options out there, and I feel like he's gonna craft something like cool. He's gonna get an org probably behind them, and like could be a dark horse next season. You never know.
Yeah, I would agree. I think honestly, I think the biggest impact that's gonna matter on what team he gets, I think is gonna be how he looks, because overall, I feel like all of us could agree, like he was probably pretty obviously the worst player on NRG. I felt like for the last
He was usually
6 months, maybe.
I agree.
if
I
not
agree. He was
longer.
usually the weakest link.
Yeah, and so if he gets grinding, I don't know what his grind looked like. Like when he was on NRG, I don't know how many hours he was putting in. But if he can grind, I mean, he's been putting some clips on Twitter. I've been seeing him. He was hitting. Well, they were looking good. Hopefully, he's grinding out there, and if his passion is still there, apparently, I mean, it's gotta still be there. He didn't retire, so he clearly still wants it. But yeah, it would be interesting to see. I could see him pick up like maybe say like a I don't even know, like a say Percy Toasty in himself, something like that. Could come a little roster like that. Somewhere like the cusp of the bubble kind of type players where the best players off of the teams on the cusp would make sense to me at least. And Squishy, I think I don't know how Squishy's mental is these days. I know it probably back in the day maybe it wasn't that great, but he's got to be a leader these days, I would assume. And picking up players that are older, like someone like Toasty and Percy or a Lion Blaze or something like that, I think that'd benefit him greatly. A nice older team, just like Garrett and Justin, kind of mesh into a system, and you never know, maybe they can push. Although honestly, it probably matters what actually happens in NA. Because like if he picks up those 2 players, right? If he picks up the 2 players I said, Percy and say Toasty, right? Is that a
Yeah.
team that realistically can get like a top 5 if the teams just like make super teams? Like,
Mm,
I don't think it
Dude,
is, right?
on paper, I want to say no, but who knows?
Yeah, it's a hard one,
Who
right? Because
knows?
like SSG on paper don't look that great to me either, aside from LJ. But
true.
they're growing up. They're growing, and Space Station. I mean, they got the 1 seed at NA, so there's always a chance.
Mm,
Same with Gen G. Gen G, I don't think looked that great on paper either. So
mm.
that is squishy though. You know another player that you know
Ooh.
you wanna Bop? You know what I'm talking about? You said ooh like you were excited there.
Ooh. Another world champ, maybe?
Yeah,
Squishy the
yeah.
world champ, maybe
You
a
want to
different
tell
world
us?
champ
You
right
want to tell us
here.
about the world champ? What
Scrub
happened?
Killa getting kicked from Hogan mode.
Crazy.
Ooh, I gotta say, like, from a fan perspective, that was so sad, bro. Like,
It
I was like,
was.
this is a team Hogan mode, this trio, Growly, Rezi, Scrub Killa, what a team right here, making top fours in EU. With
Yeah.
EU, how as strong as they are, they made top fours being like
That's
liquid. I think they beat
insanity.
Moist maybe once. Like, what a team this was, and then they kick Scrub Killa, man. So sad. It's like I will say like it's understandable. Like they're trying to improve their roster. Scrub was the weakest link on the team. I felt like it was a little bit quick, but like I do get the move. If they get someone better, like it makes sense. But it's still really sad to see.
I mean, man, I don't know. I feel like that's a tricky one because I mean, that team we were talking about on paper. That team on paper does not look like it would be getting top 4s in EU with how EU look. But they pulled it off, and they only seem to get better. They only seem to get better throughout the split, other than that one mistake. I mean, technically, I think they would have been at this LAN if they had not completely jacked up their second regional.
The second regional,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think it was a bad decision for now, at least. For now, it was a bad decision until you see it. Because I mean, nobody's
Mm,
made any other moves. You clearly, I mean, they showed they can compete with the best on their best day. And
mm,
it's really just a matter of if they could have been consistent, or maybe you never know. They could have had internal issues as well. We never know about that. That's always the trickiest part to
mm,
spectate.
Yeah,
But
that's true. That's
that
a
team,
point.
I don't
true,
know. That team just
true.
didn't seem like they would have had internal issues though. They were just, they were fan favorites. I feel like they all meshed pretty decent, at least from what I saw. So I don't know. Money, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, honestly, I was pretty surprised that they got rid of Scrub Killer. I definitely agree that he was like considered like the third like the weakest player on the team, but like he definitely brought a lot to the table. He like just the intangibles that he brings,
The
like on
hype.
and off the
Mm,
pitch. Yeah, facts. The hype, the like just being like a veteran in the space.
Hmm.
He's comfortable in these different scenarios that other players haven't been in. And but yeah, I agree with you, Jagentek, on that. Like it did seem early. It seemed early for sure. But
mm,
yeah, I don't know. Like they could pick up another like hypothetically like another young mechanical player, but will they be able to like have that same like get to the same level that they did
Did they have?
without
I
Scrub?
feel like they had their success because of the chemistry. It felt like because
Yeah.
of the
yeah.
chemistry. Like if they pick up just say like a random like mechanical kid, like are they as good? I don't know if they are.
Mm,
Yeah.
good question.
Like for example, say
Mm,
who is it? Say like just go get Acro. Is it Acro that was on Guild? Like he looked pretty
yeah,
good, I would
Acro's
say.
good.
Like do you think if they picked up an Acro along with their two here, you think they'd look as
Yeah.
good? I bet it would be questionable to be honest.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
sure. I'd need to see it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
really
think their peak would be higher. I think their
probably.
peak would be higher, but their floor would probably be lower. So,
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
They seem pretty well. I was gonna. That's hard to say because I was gonna say they seem pretty
mm.
consistent, but I mean they couldn't
Oh, but
even
then
make the yeah. They're
then it's the
regional
regional.
too, so not
Yeah.
great,
And then they
not
did
great at
lose
all.
to Scrub Killer's old team in some random tournament. I think it was called the
Ooh,
Odyssey. I'm not sure. It was a
Oh
French
yeah, yeah,
tournament, I
yeah.
believe.
I remember that
yeah,
So
I
yeah,
one.
they
lost to
lost.
SK.
They lost to SK Gaming, Scrub Killer Gaming. They
Crazy.
lost to. So
Scrum Killer Gaming. Scrub. What do we think then? Here's another little question for you guys. What do we think Scrub
Mm,
his future looks like? Because it seems he's just getting booted off every team he goes to, even no matter the results at this
mm.
point. So is
he's getting
Scrub?
Yeah.
top six. He's getting kicked off his
Yeah,
team.
like is Scrub done? Is it GG's?
Ah,
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like he's only 20, right? I think he's only 20 years old.
I think so.
Like I think he still goes. I think he still tries. Like next season, it could be his last season, maybe depending on stuff. But like, I think he still has to try. I think people will see like, hey, he didn't make a top four.
Yeah,
Like he
yeah,
still has it in him. Like he's a really good third man, a good leader. I think good captain.
yeah.
I feel like, and also if you pick him up, teams or like players are gonna root for you. Like fans will root for you. You know.
Exactly.
So like, I feel like people got to give him a shot this next season for sure.
Yeah, I feel like when you have a player like Scrub, I've talked about this on my own streams before, but when you have a player like Scrub, you have to have, like, I don't know, it's like, it doesn't, at some point, it barely even matters sometimes, the results, because you're literally just bringing in, like, fans just because of
Yeah.
Scrub Killer. It's like the NRG effect. Like, I think that's also, like, kind of
Yeah.
part of why NRG stayed for so long, is because they just, like, they had
Mhm.
so many fans that, like, we're big fans of them as like players and individuals and streamers and creators. And I think that's
Yeah.
just like, no matter if you're an org, even if you're not placing well with a player like Scrub, it's still beneficial to pick up somebody that large and that well known in the scene, because you're just guaranteed to get like new eyes on your org essentially, even if you're not playing well. I mean, just look at like Dark Zero. Like honestly, if Turbo wasn't on Dark Zero, I would have not even known that was an org. If I'm being honest with you.
True.
True.
So
Dude, I didn't even know it was an
yeah,
org
Money
when I
didn't
knew he
even
was on
know.
the team.
So there you go. But
Mm.
there is that. MoneyGo, I need you to clap for me one more time. Clap. Thank you. We're on our very last subject, the very last one. N80, M80 and Axel disband. Is this a good or a bad sign for North America? What do you think's gonna happen with these players? Money, take us away. Take us away.
I mean, on paper, I think it's good. I like seeing a bunch of new free agents to go and mix things up, shake things up in the scene, and yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with like Toasty, for example, Lion Blaze, Percy. Yeah, dude, I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed.
Mm.
Bop, thoughts?
Yeah, I think overall it's good for the scene. I mean, you got like what M80, Axel, you got I think Dignitas also they're trying to rebuild around Evo
Hopefully.
maybe.
Yeah.
I talked to Violent Panda at Worlds, or not at Worlds, at the major,
Yeah.
and he was like, yeah, probably rebuilding around Evo. He thinks still that potential for sure for Evo. And then also in EU as well. I mean, you got like PSD Tundra, I think they're disbanding. You got some other teams as well, I forget, but like top teams that are also disbanding. I feel like
Yeah.
it's good for like the scene. You can get like some of these like veteran pros trying to team with the bubble players then, especially in NA, like they gotta like figure out stuff. So like with Squishy, with other players, picking up new new players. I think it's good for the scene. I feel like we'll
Yeah.
see like brand new teams, brand new rosters, trying to like live up to the hype maybe next season with these like trying to find like the next Zen, like the next like one of these kind of players. Like it could be fun. It'll be fun to see what happens. I'm excited. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree 100%. I think it's a great sign, especially for NA. Although, the real question I have is NA going to squander this opportunity? You know, you blow up these teams, and we all know that they're going to blow up a ton more after Worlds happens. So the real question is, are they going to take the best players from these teams and all come together? Or are these players going to be like, no, I don't want to play with the best players. I want to play with my friends still. Are we still having a friend region in NA? Or is this going to finally be the time we see the players be smart and at least try to make the best teams they can with the best players in the world? Will we see like a Justin? Will we see like a Justin, say, a Percy, and a Toasty from, say, I pick a best player from each team. But will we see something like that? What do you guys think about that?
Dude, honestly, I hope so. I hope that it's time to leave the friend meta in the past.
Oh my goodness, please.
And move on to greatness. That's what I want to see. I want greatness from all these players. I want greatness from all these teams. I want to see some of the highest level Rocket League ever. I want my mind to be blown every game. I want to be able to like try to like drink my water but not be able to put it into my mouth because my mouth is just fully open. My jaw is on the ground because of the mechanics that I'm witnessing. The teamwork, the chemistry, just everything. And that's what I hope overall. But who knows?
Honestly, I think it's just like, it would just be so dumb not to try it at this point, right? Like, you have nothing to lose when you're, especially like NA. Like,
But you
even
could
if
lose your friends, bro. You could lose your
I
friends.
don't care about your stupid friends. I want to compete at the highest level. NA! let me tell you about NA. I don't care about your friends. I only care about the best players, teaming with the best players. And if we don't get that then off season, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'm moving to EU. Because NA, we've had the friend region for too long. The same players been in the top for too long. You gotta at least split them up and put them onto other teams. Give me a team like, I don't even know, if JNaps doesn't retire. Give me I have no clue. Give me Garrett, JNaps, and say First Killer. Why not? Actually, I'd love that team. I'd be squealing for that team. It'd be insane. But yeah, it's about time. This is a message to NA. It's about time. You do it. It's time. You gotta do it. Stop making the friend teams. Get the best players on the best teams. I don't care if it doesn't work. I don't care. That some will work, some won't work. But you're at least gonna have the best talent there. And that's what matters in my eyes. That's what EU's been doing, and you gotta do it at some point. What do we think?
Yeah.
Yeah, you reiterate that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Bob,
mean,
go ahead.
I completely agree. I feel like you gotta get rid of this friend meta. You gotta get these, especially even just like lower end bow players that you don't hear about as much. Like I like Wavy a lot. Wavy's a player I think that could be in a top team. I think a Knight, for example, he was on Koi and now he's on G League. I think he is a player that like could have a breakout performance like Chronic, for example.
Right.
There's like these players that you don't hear about that much that I think these top teams need to give a chance, need to see how they do in tryouts, really need to just like let them cook for a little bit.
Yeah.
And if they don't do well, that's fine. Like, don't pick them up, but like try them out for a bit. It's a long off season. See how they do. I think it could improve NA a lot.
That's what I was just gonna say. With the added, 5 months, if that actually does end up happening, teams should have time to finally figure it out. They shouldn't just be monkeying around, picking up willy-nilly and trying to fit players as fast as possible. They should actually, take their time, figure out the best roster they can make with the pieces around, and I hope everybody, hopefully NA explodes like we're expecting, so that we can actually, they'll actually have all the players to do so. If not, watch them just all stay. Watch, we're gonna see the next G2 next season. Bro, I'd die. I'd just give up. It would be time to leave. But yeah, no, they just gotta give it a chance at some point. Also, Adam Core says more of a play style thing in my opinion. We could touch on that, I guess. We have a little bit more time here before we go. We said about 2 hours. We're about 14 minutes over, but it's okay. Go for it. Money. Touch on. You think it's a play style thing?
Yeah, I think Adam Coy is definitely right on that. I don't know. In NA, we definitely have the mentality of like, I can't think of the word, but like just to be like more as individuals instead of as a team. Like in the back of our heads, it's like, dude, I need to get my score up. I need to be one of the top performers on my team. Like, dude, I don't know. I think it's definitely play style. And like I think it was Reddles talking about it on his stream. He was saying how like even EU like they just seem faster. He was playing in a ranked twos match, yeah, with some EU players, and he was like, yo, these EU players, they just seem faster. Like you feel like you have no space on the ball, and yeah, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I don't feel like people have always said like that would be a hard change, but I don't feel like that's really that hard of a change to make though. Like you literally just like if you put the best players on the best team. And you have a coach that genuinely knows what they're doing, that shouldn't be a super hard thing to change. As long as you're replicating the teams in EU. Like watch when you're doing replay reviews, watch the EU teams. When you're working on what you need to work on, watch the best teams in the world. Like why are you watching your scrims against say against G2? Even though G2 actually do play kind of like an EU team, apparently. But that's not a great example. But you get what I'm saying. Like they gotta lock in on what EU is doing, because obviously, I mean EU, they're doing it right. So you gotta
that also has to be like a whole culture shift. Because like if one team does it, and then you play in scrims, then like you play how you want to, like you play out like that in scrims, then you might win and stuff. But then like your opponents aren't gonna play like how the EU teams are playing, so you're just getting used to NA teams. So then when you eventually play the EU teams, not much is gonna change.
I guess
it's also
if you're playing the NA teams though, you should be beating them if you're playing the EU playstyle, because the EU playstyle has proven that it can beat NA, and that it always works, or not always, but it's a very high succession. maybe, I mean, I don't know what the behind the scenes is, obviously, but maybe what could be happening, this is a little speculation. Maybe some teams say they've been looking at the EU play style, but then it doesn't work in scrims and they give up on it. I mean, I'll just throw that out there. But there could be a chance that that could be actually happening. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I've given
Bop,
up
you got
on
anything?
NA.
Yeah, anyway, would just be finished. It would just be. It might
Yeah,
just be over.
GG's. Just quit. It's time to just quit. I'll show the shirt again.
Oh yeah, just quit. There it is. There it is.
Yeah, W shirt.
Oh, just
Very
quit.
nice. Yeah.
It's
Beautiful.
It's done, man.
Something else, by the way, I do want to touch on really quickly before we skedaddle on out of here today is apparently as well. I have heard this before. I don't know how true it is, but apparently a lot of the bubble players in NA, apparently their mindsets and mentalities are like not good. Which you know we'd like to. I'd love to see if that's actually true because obviously that's what we hear from like other pros. If I'm not mistaken, I think maybe it was Jack at one point that actually I think he tweeted about it once. I want to say it's like we'd give the bubble pros a chance, but they just like they don't have the intangibles. You know, you're speaking. I mean, that's a sports reference, I guess. The intangibles, but like you gotta have like obviously if you're a bubble pro that just like does not care about like how to play the game properly and what you all want to do, like it doesn't make sense. Like I don't really know. Also, Adam Corey said Chronic said Genji was the first team he actually tried to improve. Which I mean, I think that's probably a lot of the time. Like, especially if you're not getting picked up by the highest of the highest teams. Like, is the motivation really there to like grind fully? Like, when you're getting picked up by apparently Jack, like you better be grinding. But if you're getting picked up by say like a Taroko, right? If you're teaming with a Taroko, like is the grind and like your mental really there as much? Like I would argue it probably isn't, right? And that might be part of the issue as well. Whereas
I would agree.
Yeah, I definitely agree that EU is better mental. Now, Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, like in EU, like there's so many bubble players that just grind so much.
Yeah.
Like these teams that are not even top 16, but they grind so much. They play in as many weeklies as possible. They have that mentality to like win. Whereas in NA, there's a lot of bubble players that just don't really try that much. There's a couple I could think of that do. Like whenever I see like Lunar or like Cam, they tweet like they have like crazy hours in the game. But like there's a lot of pros, like a lot of like bubble players that just don't really grind. Like Chronic, like Adam was saying, like I think last season like he barely like put in that many hours. Like he was really good, but he just didn't put that many hours in. You think about Aqua this season, like his potential is insane. Aqua's peak is like he could be crazy, but like if he doesn't grind, then like how good is NA gonna get if our players just don't really care?
Right. I feel like another part of that, well, to touch on what I was kind of saying earlier and what you just said, I feel like a lot of that is like EU players when they're coming up, right? I feel like they don't care as much who they play with. It's just like I'm playing to be the best player I can be, and I'm gonna put in the hours to have a top team notice me or have players that I want to eventually play with notice me so that I can be the best player on the best team. I mean, that's kind of how I feel like a lot of the best teams kind of came up slowly. When you look at really any region, I feel like it's like the players that wanted it the most, they eventually got there. And the hunger in NA, that might be actually that's probably the best word to use. A hunger in NA doesn't seem to be as hungry as EU talent, even when they are. I'd even argue that some of the bubble, or not even bubble players, like the top 16 to maybe 16 to 10 range in NA, maybe still isn't as hungry as like EU bubble players. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. And then you know you just pair that with the fact that EU just has more players, I guess, in general to pick from. I would say that are slowly getting better, and that's just that's a pretty easy to break down. I would say there.
Yeah, there's one thing as well. Like Nolly tweeted this yesterday. I saw, the NA teams only like scrim each other. Like the top teams only scrim each other. Like top 10 teams rarely will scrim anyone outside of that. Whereas EU, at the very least, like the top 16 teams will all scrim each other. Sometimes they scrim bubble teams as well. They try to like scrim everyone, give everyone a chance. Whereas in NA, they only scrim the top teams, which I think is a problem as well. Because like these other teams, they can't really improve if they're not never playing against the top teams. So then like that causes like these bubble players to like not want to put as many hours in if they're not like getting the best chances to improve and stuff.
Mhm.
And I feel like there's just a lot of problems in NA that like if we mimic EU more, like we'll actually improve.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a tough one overall, though. Because, like, hypothetically, if I was on a top team, top 10 team, dude, I'm not scrimming top 20 teams, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
only scrimming the best personally. So
Okay.
I might just have that NA mentality too, but because it's like
Mm.
what am I getting from that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
definitely
get
helps
that.
the top 20, but
No,
yeah, I
yeah,
don't
that
know.
makes sense. I think it's. I saw this one. It's always Twitter, bro. It's always Twitter. But I saw it on Twitter as well, and I thought it was true. It's always just. It's so tricky, bro. It's so tricky to break out like overall when you're just a player like that low. Just in general, and then you add to that the culture difference between EU and NA and just how people think. Like it really it's just a overall it's a mentality issue, right? It's not even just a skill issue. No
Like,
means. But it's a mentality issue and culture issue.
Skill issue.
Yeah, skill issue. But yeah, it's always the mental. And it's always just how you grew up. Like in France, right? They always talk about how their mental is so good and how they have like all these communities, right, that like build each other up and also just trash talk each other down. So it's like you don't see that in NA as much. Like maybe you'll just call someone bad, but it's not as harsh and as holding each other accountable. I guess is what France does. While they still also just trash talk the heck out of each other at the same time to get better. But yeah, I couldn't see NA like ever doing that because that's just not how NA people think as much.
Mm.
yeah, it would definitely take a while, at the very
It
least.
would.
I don't know. I don't
It
know
would
how
be
it's
a
gonna
long
get
one.
fixed. I don't know if it'll get fixed, but hopefully NA bounces back. Even at Worlds, it might be time to bounce back. This would be one of the greatest storylines if a NA team wins
It
Worlds
would.
somehow this year.
That actually would be insane.
Oh.
I could
Facts.
see it. I could see it though. There's a slight chance. Maybe 30 70. But money. That's all. That's all. Clap. Give us the third clap.
The round of applause
Round of
to end
applause.
off the podcast. Great job, guys.
Episode 1. Let's
That was
go.
fun.
In the books. We got it, boys. We got it. Guys, if you have any questions in the chat, send them really quick if you'd like. We'll answer. Let's answer one question. You want to answer one question? Let's see if anybody has a real question. If they don't, we'll run out of here right away.
Yeah, I'm already running.
How about Canadians?
Ooh.
Americans just on average have 10 less IQ. I have a question. Yeah, what's your question?
And Money's
David-
Canadian, right?
Yeah, he is. He is.
Yes, sir. We're representing Canada.
Is Dignitas a bubble roster? I mean, technically, by my definition, they weren't. No. All right, we have no questions. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here, guys. Thank you for joining us on episode number 1 of the 50/50. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed. We'll get a Twitter and probably a YouTube, maybe Spotify up within the next few weeks, hopefully. As well as have a Worlds episode coming up and top 25 player ranking episode coming up. So stick around, wait for that in the coming weeks, and we'll keep you guys updated for more stuff on Twitter. Make sure you're following MoneyGo, Bop, myself. That's down here. My at is Jagentek YT. I couldn't get the other one. Long story, but either way, go follow us on Twitter. We'll keep you updated, and thank you boys for being here. Adios, adios, adios. Peace.
See you guys.